Good morning, everybody. It's April 8th, 2026. This is a work session of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners. Our first item on the agenda this morning is an overview and discussion regarding options for the courthouse renovation project. This will be led by Candace Bryant, our county manager.
All right, we've got a memo in there for you guys, and I shared it out, ahead of the meeting so you guys had time to digest. So we've got a couple of options, and we really need some direction on which of those options we really need to pursue. The first option, a strategic capital reset, would involve, returning the COP, which we can pay early with no penalty, and I haven't spent any of it. It would also involve returning the USDA funding, which Josh and I spoke with the USDA last week. It wouldn't impact any ability to apply for future funding. We would just need to be really conscientious in speaking with the senators who agreed to give us that money, to be realistic about, we got it extended, I got the project amended to fit this new project that we're trying to do, because it was originally awarded for the Justice Center, which was, something that we absolutely couldn't afford. So if that were an option we chose, the goal would be to get our capital asset management plan done, really come in and spend some time digging through what properties do we have, what buildings do we have, what buildings are we paying to rent, how many people do we need in this space, what does Heath need? It wouldn't absolve us from doing things for the courthouse or for the courts, right? If Heath were not in this building, we'd still have to work on those pieces. But this would give us some time to say, hey, here's what we actually have. Really, before COP is taken out, there should be a shovel-ready plan in hand. Like all the work we've been working on with RANA, like that should have been done, and like, here's what we're gonna do, and we can't afford it. So that is option one. Option two, if we decided to do it now, would require us to put money into exploring, like what site could we use, how much would it realistically cost? We got an estimate of $25 to $30 million to do an offsite sheriff facility, and that was just from Colleen, just her guesstimate, yes, napkin math. There were no we would definitively need this infrastructure in the ground, blah, blah, blah. We have talked with Stuart just a little bit and are just curious. Heath has done a lot of looking into other facilities, and it seems like that estimate of 25 to 30 million is quite high if we're talking about just like a steel building that's fitted, to be what we need. So if that was the option we chose, we would want to delve into that a little bit more, and again, have a shovel-ready plan before we dive into that. If we went that route, I've got to spend the COP within 2 years to not incur a penalty. I would have to go to bond counsel and request to use the COP funds for a different project. And same thing for the congressionally directed funds, and I feel like that one would be really, which that's $3.575 million. That would be, I would be shocked if they let us, after having held it for 5 years and not spent it, change the project twice now, and then really begged to get it extended, that they would let me extend again and pivot it to a new project. So I have some concerns about that money really being available if we go that route.
How much is that, 3.5?
3.575 million. options that we've heard from our ANA and Colleen's team were the partial courthouse renovation, run with the project we currently have, which we've kind of pressed pause on. Everything they were doing for us of, spending money for a plan that I don't know we're fully gonna go that route. So we could really scale it back. I think the concerns with that are old buildings, you get into them and there are things you don't realize you're gonna come across that become that, well, we have to fix this while we're here right now. And then the last option is the full courthouse renovation, which then we probably would need to borrow a little bit more. I think the concerns with the $8 million COP.
A lot more, baby.
Yeah, a lot more. I think the problems with the COP are that it's not just $8 million. It's an $8 million COP that ends up being a $13 million payout.
Right.
Just under 14 actually by the time we paid all the interest on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with taking on debt that's purposeful and planned for. I don't know that that's what where we're currently at.
Yeah.
So those are the options. I would say if we did option one, I think it would be wise to think about continuing to explore what option two could look like, So when we do have a better idea of like, here's what we have, here's what we need, here's what we could part with, here's what we should hold on to.
Yeah.
We still could be planning to make those changes for, not only just Heath, but I think it would be Heath, E911, OEM, they'll probably be kind of in a similar space. And also thinking about even if we did a metal building that housed all of those things, thinking about, some sort of like parking area that could be like paid parking. We have enough big events like the race series that there could be a way to kind of offset those sorts of things. So I think still exploring that option while pausing wouldn't be a bad idea. Now,
Thank you, Candace.
When you said in regards to option one, we'd be conscientious how we talk to senators, congressmen.
yeah,
That, I feel like that would be pretty easy. We just kind of have some formal written thing that comes with our sending everything back. That
Yeah.
basically just explains the real world common sense approach that we're taking. And that might even be beneficial if these people are seeing this and be like, okay, these guys are actually being real smart about how they're gonna spend this money. They're
Yeah.
taking something and taking a better approach than maybe their predecessors did.
well, and I think when that money was borrowed, we were in a bit different of a funding outlook. We just come off of, the COVID year, so we had lots of money handed down. I don't know that the state recognized how big of a deficit they were even in. I just think the funding outlook that we're in right now with, entire, federal dollars aren't being passed down to the state in the same way. The state's not able to pass on the same amount of money, they're receiving less.
Yeah.
I just think we're in a very different time and financial forecasting outlook than we were when the money was borrowed.
We will still retain some value in the studies that we've already had done. We'll have something to hand off to whoever we pass the torch on to moving forward, right?
Well, I think that's where we'd wanna know from you guys some direction. Do you want us to wrap up the current plans with our ANA? We kind of paused at the pulling permits and fully saying, hey, because they gave us options. When they last talked with us, they said, you could do this.
Yeah.
Or you could do this, or you could do the everything. And I think, making sure we have that fully done would be really important to leave, even if it's not something that we we end up. That we end up.
Whoa, where are we
He
going?
was about to drop.
Good
too,
morning. Meditation timer is done.
I just wish his moves had been captured on the camera.
I had to go.
Oh, so I think that it's just,
Yeah,
we need some direction from you
Yeah.
guys, cause right now we are just holding everyone at bay. And
Yeah.
saying, wait, we need to know what we're doing before we continue to dump money into something that isn't the direction you guys wanna go.
okay. Number one feels smartest to me. Looking at the whole picture, which we've talked about a zillion times, I feel like in this room, looking at the whole picture before we make a move. And when we make a move, probably making multiple moves at the same time. With RA&A, with number two, we're likely going to be moving some sort of sheriff's facility off-site because we're just at capacity, and probably one of the things we'll want to solve is all of the leasing and renting that we're doing around the county, and try to shunt things back into capital that we own. In which case, I feel like it'd be good, maybe Colleen is the right person to ask, but would it be possible to get from RA&A I don't know, are we paying them through construction documents right now, or just design documents?
Design documents.
Okay, so maybe if we just get design documents about the renovation of this building that assumes that the sheriff's department is not here.
Which-
So then we at least have paid for that so that when it's ready to plug in, we go. And obviously the estimates wouldn't be accurate anymore, but the design work would be done.
Yeah, and that's not how they designed, but we could ask them what would it take to get there.
Yeah, just since they've done all that work,
Yeah.
it would maybe just be a smaller pivot than fully going out for new RFP, new architects, et cetera. Yeah.
And that's why I kind of paused where we were at, so I still have the money that you guys put towards that's in our budget this year. You know, we decided not to touch the COP, to just use general fund dollars to finish up that work, because we knew we weren't sure where we were gonna shake out.
Yeah.
So we do have those funds still to work on that this year.
I honestly feel like in 2 years, we will be lucky if we're ready in 2 years to break ground on something. So the COP, in my mind, has to be returned. I don't wanna have a penalty. I wanna look, like, part of the capital asset management plan is not just where we are, like, what buildings we wanna keep, but it's also which buildings we want to maybe let go of, and those sales could be potentially part of the financial picture that makes the new facility happen. In which case, I don't think it'd be smart to keep the COP. We should look at the whole financial picture and then go out for whatever we need left over, and try to frankly borrow as little as possible with an interest rate as high as it is. That
Yeah.
would be my gut.
I like the hybrid 1 and 2 kind of idea, where we do reset button, everything, but that reset button is kind of the understanding that I don't think we can feasibly continue with trying to cram everything into one bucket here in this building. The off-site law enforcement is the best. So I'm curious as to actually how much square footage that whole side of the building contains of law enforcement, and how much that adds, and is there capacity for maybe even bigger and better things that we haven't even talked about yet? Like, can we carve out 4,000 feet somewhere in this building to add some childcare facility or something? Like, is there room for a pool in it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, what else can we do with this building? Let's do it all.
Well, like even,
It probably got up into my frontal lobe or something.
even like, can we bring public health and DHS home?
Yeah, definitely
Right?
that, you know, cause that's gonna save us some tangible dollars
Yes.
yearly.
That's why I really like number one, because it's more of a holistic, and I don't wanna just do number two. I feel like that's what we've done as a government for a while, it's just kind of like one thing at a time. Whereas we need to be really efficient and try to do multiple shifts with our capital asset management plan.
I also think there's some value to what is the whole of everything that we
Yes.
have, what is the whole that everything needs, and what's the best like 50-year plan
Yes.
for all the things. And that's where I think we didn't fully have all that information, and also just we're in a different funding time. I felt like, oh, that'll be easy to come up with, versus I think trying to be a little more strategic, trying to force an older courthouse to be a modern day jail. It just seems like we're trying to cram a square peg into a round hole with really no way to fund the changes that it would take to get there.
Kinda no matter what, I mean, just real life on the ground, this building, though, no matter what, we are gonna have to do that elevator, portico, situation. So is that worth making part of the courthouse safety upgrades?
So the grant that we were trying to get the match reduced for,
Yeah.
part of trying to get that match reduced is because we recognize from the work we did with RA&A that we can actually just flip the direction of the courtroom to add some items that make it a little more safe.
Okay.
Keith also is applying for a grant that we're not incredibly, it's a court security grant that we're hoping we get, but we know a lot of people are applying for a small batch of money. But part of what was written into that grant is to make some safety upgrades. But we would continue to pursue some other grant funding, and we're gonna go to the underfunded courts. What we hope is that by getting that grant match reduced, we can show, hey, we have started to work towards getting this done. This is a priority for us, and we can go back to the underfunded courts this next year and ask for just what it would take to like get the Sally Port and, the safe transport into the building and up.
Yeah.
Especially if we knew Heath was gonna be off-site at some point, or the sheriff's office, because we're still gonna have to get people safely in and
Right.
and out.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of benefit to having more space, with Heath and an off-site facility. It's not the Taj Mahal of the facilities, it's just like what we need. Like yesterday while we were in the meeting, there were people being taken from in there and wheeled out on a gurney as we're meeting. There's just a lot of things that are beneficial to considering. They're having to come in where people are trying to do day-to-day business, it becomes a safety thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think there's a lot to be explored with real information about our books are closed, here's what we really have. Here's what we could realistically contribute from our general fund reserve without violating our own general fund reserve policy. Here are other funding streams with a plan in hand that we could go after and say, we've got a plan, we know we can do it, here's what we need.
So right now, in the conversations, the quote for just the Sally Port and elevator situation was like $4 million, right? So is it worth just using our COP to just get that done along with the court safety grant and that our COP be part of the match? Even if we can't get it lowered? Because we have to do that anyway.
We could just pay back.
Wouldn't,
I would wanna sit down
Okay.
we don't take a penalty for not using the COP until December of this year. I think we realistically can get our audit done fast enough to say definitively, here's our general fund reserve. And then we could ask ourselves, do we wanna finance $4 million? Maybe we don't, maybe we just wanna say, we'll commit 4 million of general fund reserve and just be really budget conscious as we work these next few years. I don't think that's off the table once we, are at that point with books closed, to know what do we have and ask ourselves, is that what we could do? Or maybe we can only do 3 and we need to get,
Okay.
maybe that 3,575 could go towards that. I don't
That's
know,
what I
I
was
just wanna
wondering.
know what we're trying to do to really get answers from our partners.
I'm only trying to be financially savvy.
Yeah.
In that things will just continue to cost more money. And the unknown of what will cost more money is any COP we go out for.
Yeah.
So what kind of interest rates we get, right? So that's why it's like, no matter what we choose, the courts will live here. And we will need to have a safe entry
Mhm.
for people coming in. And the only solution that has been proposed, whether the sheriffs are here or not, is that elevator. So is it better to just get that done while it's cheaper than it will ever be, or do we put a pause on everything?
Yeah, and I can set up a meeting with the USDA to ask about, can we really rein it in and just be like, court security, getting
That's-
people in and out safely is what we're going for.
Yeah,
They might say no, but I did get it extended through this year, so maybe they will let us use it for another project. Cause that would be most of the 4 mil,
yeah,
and at least it'd go towards getting that piece done, because whether we keep sheriff in this building or explore a different option, we're gonna have to get people in and out safely to the courts anyways.
so then there's also the upgrades, the $500,000 from the
Underfunded courts,
underfunded courts. And then potentially $500,000 from us. If we can get the grant match lowered, right? But up to 1.5.
Yeah.
Which
But
I feel like is way
The
more
congressionally
swimmable.
directed spending can be our match. They've already said that's fine,
Cool.
so I think if
And it's okay that we're spending it on that though?
I just have to make sure that the USDA would be fine, I'd have to, so I've already gotten the project amended once.
Yeah.
I would just have to ask, to do another amendment.
Is this a full amendment or is it just like a shrinking of scope?
It's another amendment to
Yeah.
it, but I think if we have a project ready to go, that they're probably more likely to allow us to do that.
Okay.
I felt like the Sally Port was something that needed to happen anyway. And, if there's even a slim chance that we can get that 3.75 that's supposed to go towards court safety, or is that just congressionally directed spending?
It's
towards the whole
congressionally
project?
directed spending that was awarded for this Justice Center project.
The original Justice.
Yes. And then when we came in and we're gonna do this project to the courthouse, it hadn't been amended to this project, so I amended it, I got it extended
Uh-huh.
and amended it to fit the project we're currently working on.
Okay,
And I'll probably just have to say, hey, we're really scaling back, and probably amend it and see if they'll let us continue to use it for this year.
so yeah,
For
the
just
Sally
that.
Port, I'm sorry,
Okay.
I don't wanna interrupt anybody.
You're not.
The Sally Port checks so many boxes, it would probably placate some of the court people and give Heath some attention, show some love there, like, hey, we wanna get you guys a better situation with that, the court people will be happy, we've got something that's gonna be needed even if we build off-site. I mean, the Sally Port just seems like such a no-brainer. Then we've got something going on, we're not completely like, I don't know, I like that whole path.
I do too. I think I like number 1 a lot, but if we think about long-term 50 years, the Sally Port's in there, in that 50-year plan,
Mhm.
like you said, switching the courthouse around. Those guys, they want it and they need it, and it sounds like some financial wrangling we can do to make it as cheap as possible. So I think all that's smart, and I'd be willing to try and pursue that. And then eventually, we know the long-range plan is to divest and consolidate, get people back in there and do some kind of ugly metal building at the end of Harrison.
Sounds great.
I mean, similar to what they did in Buena Vista,
Mhm.
where we met. That's a
Yeah.
very simple building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty, I mean, the historic folks aren't gonna like it, but.
We'll get it done.
Sorry.
We'll
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah,
Maybe we could
I
put
think
some
the
columns,
point is like the
including
safety of and being in compliance with what we're supposed to provide for people who have.
Yeah.
Who are, arrested and detained,
columns. Yeah.
the look of the building is.
And there's always been a problem of where are people gonna work when we all get kicked out of here to do this giant renovation? This just doesn't work. I mean, there's no way. Where do we meet? Where do people go to get their permits? It's just a giant 2-year mess.
I do think that it's been long enough since DPM presented on the plans, but I do think there are some dependencies related to the Sally Port that we can't just say we're gonna do this $4 million piece of the project and not touch some of the other things as we get in there, like.
Yeah.
There's office space associated with that
Yeah.
CPD was ultimately gonna move into. I think there's some mechanical stuff that's connected, so we would still be looking at probably half of what the total cost was. It's not just a $4 million project at that point, so.
I'd like to get DPM back
Well,
in
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important to consider.
Yeah.
because
and run through it with them.
also the Sally Port before was going straight into like detainee rooms that I think we would be like, no, we're not doing any of that. So the Sally Port was like way more built out.
Yeah.
Programmatically. And there were a couple of options. One was like just to secure the vehicle could be a fully built Sally Port, or it could have been like a chain link fence. So I do think that we have like range there to go like cheapest. And now that we're taking out all the programming too, maybe there could be some finagling.
I'm gonna, if it's okay, and you guys feel okay with that, I'd like to reach out to DPM and get them all back in here so we can formulate a plan. I don't wanna go to the USDA
Without a plan.
without saying, hey, this is what I'd like to amend it to, we're gonna do it this year, we'll at least start this year.
Yeah.
Cause I think that if they know we're gonna get started, they're gonna let me actually keep the money and use it for the project versus saying, hey, I wanna amend it, I don't know what, but cause I've already been kind of through a lot of getting it extended, amending it, we've held on to this money for quite some time.
If we do any kind of significant work on the building, we might have to cut down a bunch of trees, right? To follow our own rules.
Shut up. No, we're in the city limits.
For exempt.
It is
Okay,
not.
alright, I wasn't sure, just,
We should,
Will we go for the courthouse?
in the scope, we should include some of the asbestos if we can, the mechanicals, and that radon is a terrible thing down there. Can you imagine working in that evidence room down there and just, it's like smoking a pack of cigarettes every day.
Yeah, I'd rather smoke cigarettes.
Could we get sued?
No way.
It's a problem.
No, Matt.
I mean, you have governmental immunity, but to the extent you know about a problem, that
Unsafe work environment.
ups the risk, for sure.
I know
I
that's.
mean, radon's a really hard thing to prove, if
Yeah.
you
Right.
get sick from, so the causation on that would be incredibly difficult, I think.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that we want to do number one,
Yes.
but we're going to take the opportunity to do some pieces of the courthouse. And what we need is to get DPM and folk back in this room.
Yeah.
To talk about shrinking the scope
Sally for
to just focus on courthouse security, radon, and like anything else we have to touch from doing those two things.
and the window.
And the window, those three things. We're doing the window,
We do nothing else.
period. Unsafe work environment. But then we're gonna try to have it as small as possible and then financially be really savvy about
Yes.
if we're touching our COP or if we're sending it back and we're gonna commit to it. We're gonna commit to it so that Candace can go for the last time for the funding.
I think
Does that
depending
sound
on,
right?
you know, what DPM comes back with, returning the COP frees up so our COP would have had a better interest rate, but our audit wasn't done. And because that audit wasn't done, we didn't get the rating that they thought we would have, so we got issued the COP, they were waiting on the audit wasn't done. I had to plunk down $539,000 to secure the COP that will be freed up if it's returned. And I'm not even gonna return it, but there's no penalty to pay off early. That would be what I'm doing, it's just paying the thing off early, I've been making payments with interest the whole time. But that would free up that secured deposit. And we do have some flexibility in our general fund reserve now that we've got books closed. We actually know what we're really working with, you know, so it's not like we don't have anything in our reserve that we could touch.
Right.
You know, we do, we just wanna make sure we're leaving enough that if we have tight times, we have a buffer.
Yeah.
And also, you know, we have a little bit that we could put towards the project, so you know, between the 3,575, whatever they come back with, maybe it is something we can cover ourselves to get ourselves in a better position.
Yeah.
To do what he needs.
That's really smart. Thanks for thinking about this, and I think we almost fell into a big mistake.
It's not an $8 million COP, it's a $13 million one by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
And if that's, you know, and it's over, I don't know, I think it was 30 years? It's 20 or 30 years, I can't remember, it is over a long time, you know, but to not really be able to fully do the project to pay that much over time is where
Yes.
the
We
Yeah,
have to
it's
go out
not
again,
even, it doesn't even get you,
pieces.
you know, close to the finish line.
right?
Yeah, we would probably be trying to borrow more had we just
Yeah.
let this whole thing keep rolling, we would have been scrambling.
Cause it ended up being that we needed 20, if I remember correctly, it was closer to 20 or 21 million if we just did the basic,
Yeah.
what we needed in this building.
Yeah.
And that didn't
That's-
even get,
That's if there's no surprises.
yeah,
Surprise!
We would have had to find $13 million.
least.
Sans the CDS.
No, I'm happy with how this is turning out. I think this is great, and thinking long-term, 50 years down the road, that's how we need to think, not our own comfort, the window notwithstanding.
Yeah, thank you for.
See, we
Candace-
remember what you want.
That is not what I wanted. Hearken lads. How's the capital asset management plan going?
we can't do anything,
Till we decide this?
no, till DOLA lets us know if we got our grant or not.
Ah,
If
DOLA,
we start before they award us, we can't use the grant.
right, cause they won't retroactively
Yeah.
pay.
So we have.
Come on, Randy.
So in-house though, Stuart's gotten every property that we have, he's done like an estimated value of it. Clearly, we haven't paid anyone to go assess it, but we've at least got that dialed, we know all of our buildings, so we've done a lot of the legwork to really hit the ground running as soon as we know from DOLA whether we're awarded. Even if we're not awarded from DOLA, I put money aside to start the project. If DOLA is able to give us the grant award with the money I've got set aside, it would be enough to like value everything, do a full plan and then have I wrote the software to like connect to our accounting software so that we start to have like that 5-year outlook of what we're gonna do. Here are the roads we're gonna do and here are the buildings we're gonna work on, you know, so that every year you're updating and budgeting out the next, like the 5th year you can drop down. So that's why we really would like to get the grant, but they said we can't have a contract in place with anybody to do it or anything until they award it, so we are.
Do we know what their timeline is?
They said mid-April is when it was going to committee,
Okay.
so then hopefully by the end of the month, we would have an answer, yeah.
How much is that grant?
We asked for $199, I think.
Yeah, just under 200,000, there's tiers, you know, tiered levels, and the work that we're looking to have done kind of fits in that tier 1, so up to 200,000.
Yeah. And I had $250 back for it.
Nice, yeah.
Very smart strategy, I like it.
Well, I think it's hugely important, like, it's not, you know, Candace mentioned the valuations, so we're gonna have a sense of like, across the county, what do we own land-wise, like facilities, what are we renting, but it's also an ability to assess the condition of each of those properties, so I think pretty smart for decision-making in terms of like, if we're gonna go out to get a COP, we can look at all the 5 buildings that need the work, you know?
Yeah.
And then pull the right amount of money, like if we're gonna do something different there.
Is there a chance we could lower the interest rate after we get our books in order, or was this borrowed at a time when interest rates were so low? Do you know what our interest rate is?
Can we refinance?
On the COP,
4 point something percent.
can't remember off the top of my head, I know it was supposed to be pretty low and then our audit wasn't done. So we didn't get what they had originally quoted, I'll have to pull up the paperwork on it, I don't recall. Inbox.
Yeah, if we could send most of that or all of it back and do most of this out of pocket with some grants and some more financial finagling, then that would be terrific.
I just don't know how long it would take us to know what an offsite facility for Heath would be.
Well, and would we, I guess the whole point of the camp, I'm gonna call it the camp from now on. The whole point of the camp is that we could see what else we could solve,
Yeah,
right? Is to not do these one-offs. So does the coroner need a place? Does probation, do we want probation to come back and be here or with Heath? Or is it a Hub Works and Sheriff's Department facility? Right, like just, I'm not, like what can we solve in one as opposed to lots of, you know, just inefficient buildings?
No, that's right.
That's the whole point of the camp, in my mind.
Yeah.
Well, a big point of the camp.
well, yeah, to know what you're working with and what it's gonna need for the foreseeable future, so you can start to say this actually is, you know, and part of a capital asset management plan is they do go to the community and they say, if we have all these assets, what are the most important? And I think that's wonderful information to have from your community. You know, of course, we have things we statutorily have to do
Yeah.
that get to be a priority whether we want them to be or not, right? But it is important, I think, to also know like what in order of importance, what's valuable.
That's,
Really opens up so many options pivoting on this.
yeah, so many options. So Candace, next steps is that we'll see DMP and RHNA and the crew in here and
Yeah.
talk about changing that scope
Yes, and
for the
what
final time.
would it take?
Yeah.
I'll go to the USDA as soon as we get that answer.
Yeah.
And see what we can do with them to at least do that work.
Great.
And then I think maybe when we're in that meeting with everybody to understand what would it take to start exploring an offsite facility, that's really basic. I think it'd be smart to do that work. If we think we're gonna return the COP, it frees up that 539 we already plunked down to put towards that work, so we could say, hey, we do have a plan and we know in 2 years we could go back for a COP
Mhm.
with books in order, with a healthy reserve, with a plan.
So we'll make the decision by the end of the year about the COP.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that by
Without penalty.
like November, so I can be handing it back in November if that's the choice we make.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That sheriff's facility in Buena Vista, there's a new one down by the prison. Kinda looks like a trailer, but do you know what I'm talking about? Not the
Yeah, I
big
know.
one where we met, but there's a newish
Like a modular
metal
thing?
modular building. Is that what you're talking about? Or we're just talking about a metal building?
It's just a metal building, and I think that's the thing, is we wanna go and ask some people who've done it around us, like,
Yeah.
what did it cost you, knowing that we would not be doing it in the exact same time they did it.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's where we wanna make sure we fully understand what, you know, what would it about cost us.
As part of that management plan, are we gonna assess that site down to Indian Harrison?
Well, you'll know what the property, the value of the property is, right? But I wouldn't be able to tell you, it would take this much to put infrastructure in the ground. That's what we would need to like have somebody do a plan. We need to, once we know what we have, pick a site and actually have someone like RA&A tell us what would it take to get.
I already did that
Yeah, there were some
with
problems
the
with
Monroe
that site.
site.
We've done that
So-
for the Taj Mahal
Yeah.
of facilities.
Yeah,
So it probably wouldn't be exactly what we need for this smaller facility.
no, but to get the,
We could get some
we
estimates,
can
of
get some
course.
close estimates, yeah.
But there's some issues with that site, the
It's
topsoil.
It's the soil.
So if we're looking at a smaller footprint, that might. That,
Yeah, there was some, in the quote, I think is built in some of the groundwork and like essential engineering to do anything on that site. If we did scale it down, I think there are some different engineering options for like, Stuart has described it as tensioning concrete, I think is the term he used. That might be able to be a little cheaper, but the 25 to 30 that DPM provided included some of that site work that they were aware of based on the earlier studies. So there will probably need to be more exploration of that, but at least some of that has been done if Monroe ends up being the trajectory.
Right, and maybe it won't be. Especially if we're combining it with Public Works and or just gonna throw out there the airport industrial park. If we're putting in infrastructure, might we as well try to enhance a certain area that we've been trying to do?
didn't we, what came of that study that we allocated funds to for the public works facility down?
We let them go back to DOLA so we could apply for this capital asset management plan because it would be done with this.
So it's not that.
No, it's not. We returned the 25,000 to ask for almost 2.
Oh,
Cause we
okay.
know we could,
It's all one?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Under one umbrella. Understood, thank you.
that was the guidance DOLA gave us if we wanted to come and ask for this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Come on, Dola, come on,
Just waiting on
Dola.
it.
You can do it,
Jumping at the bit here.
please. Okay, do you have enough guidance about our
Yes.
next steps?
To do, that's what we needed, and I think
Yeah.
honestly, we've got some free time this afternoon. That I think we can go ahead and start to reach out to those guys, get them lined up to come and meet with you guys.
Awesome, thank you.
Very good. Feels good.
At some point, I'm gonna want to sit down and see how I can spin this into good talking points for campaigning later.
What are you gonna talk about that with the Hatch Act? Careful.
Oh.
You can't campaign as an elected official.
I can't talk about the accomplishments we have
You can, but you
made.
can't talk about, you
As
can't
a-
campaign.
We can help
And-
you develop talking points for
Yeah. You can't yeah,
Public
thank
outreach,
you.
I would like to develop
Yeah,
some
yeah,
good
yeah.
public outreach talking points, so the BOCC can let the community know the great work that we're doing.
Excellent.
That was what I meant to say, sorry, it's the Novocaine,
Oh,
it made
sure.
that sound different coming out of my mouth.
You're slurring your words.
Yeah. Did I say campaign? I
I
meant
meant
outreach.
talking points.
Outreach.
I meant-
Yeah.
Alright, that's what we needed to know. Now we have marching orders, so we can get back in here.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, to be fair, these are really good, positive improvements. Gives me great hope for where things are heading.
You ready now?
Yeah, shall we move on?
I'm ready.
We're ahead of schedule. So on yesterday.
Yeah.
You could have done your dentist appointment after. We just get it done.
Yeah, we got a lot of packing and preparation work to do today.
Next on the agenda is overview and discussion regarding policies, procedures, and priorities, led by Candace Brines, our county manager, and Matthew Hobbs, our county attorney.
I'm looking at you, I'm like,
Since you did the talking on the last one, so we've taken a crack at a couple different policies, let's see. I was trying to find the packet for today and I didn't see one.
It does not exist.
it's in the work session,
I
Okay.
don't think
cause I
it
don't
is.
think
This
we
is,
needed them.
this
Oh, I
is,
saw
this is a special meeting though, right?
No, work session.
It's a work
This is a
session.
work session.
It's only a special when it's a regular, that we do it at different times.
That's what I thought.
Policy,
It says special-
procedures, oh, there's nothing
It
in
says
there.
There's
special-
nothing in-
Special work session, okay. That's really confusing.
It's a very special work session.
So
We're
special.
talking about you guys. There's nothing in the packet though.
In the work session packet,
I
Yeah.
didn't see one.
I think Sandra,
well, let me
can you put them?
put them in there first, so they're all looking at the same thing.
Cool.
Apologize for that.
Alright.
Okay.
I did the same thing when I was starting to figure out where to put my memo, and Sandra was like, no, it's a work session. I was like, okay.
Well, we didn't prep for this part of the meeting, cause
He has them, I think he didn't know where to put them because he didn't see the packet. In the special.
special.
Special work session.
I was disappointed at how cool these cups we got look and how like functional they are not.
Why, cause there's not much volume?
Yeah, it's like they're tiny and the opening is too small, it's like a throttle restrictor on your.
I'm enjoying it.
It's for special drinks.
My wife tried to steal it from
It does look cool, it's cool
me. It is
looking.
kind of feminine.
I do
No,
not
I
see.
said it looks cool.
She loved it. I was like, hey.
Get out of there. I gave mine to Will.
That's sweet. This looks nice, Matt.
I know, I have to shake it. I'm gonna sound like that movie Cocktail. All kinds of tinctures
Yeah.
and powders in here.
Wow. You're gonna live forever.
I don't think so. I'll live through.
You'll be shredding powders into your 80s.
Well, I've been taking creatine. Does everybody supplement with creatine?
I do not.
I don't, but I've been reading really cool studies about like what it does for your like cognitive health in your
Mhm.
brain.
Yeah,
We'll be on board soon.
creatine, Mr.
I
Oz.
need to know if I can do that. Okay, so I put a couple policies in there. One is sort of an update of the signature policy, that's probably the easier of the two. The second is sort of an overall governance policy. Do you guys wanna have a preference of an order, or you wanna discuss these?
Let's go signature first.
Let's go signature first.
Let's go easiest first.
Since this policy was initially adopted last year, by you all, looks like probably last May-ish sometime. I think what we've encountered operationally is, policies are always meant to be updated, right, and revised and tweaked as organizations grow and change, and especially when they're brand new, they're almost never gonna be perfect from the outset. So, operationally, we've identified a number of things that I think we would like to, the operations side would like to see in the signature policy that would really clarify and help, the government operate a little more efficiently. I think probably the most significant one is increasing the county manager's signature authority to 100,000 on all budgeted items. So it would still require anything that's unbudgeted to come back before you all. It would still require everything to come back to you all for ratification, but 25,000 is really low for, an organization with a $40 million budget essentially. So also there's a lot of kind of recurring agreements that continually need to be moved through just with the state, with other partners. And it's not clear in the current policy whether the BOCC has significantly or explicitly delegated that authority to the county manager. So this one kind of cleans that up too, as well as, what, grant agreements and all these other things. With the constraint that all what we're talking about is sort of operational stuff that has already been budgeted, the requirement that these agreements all be reviewed by the county attorney's office. So there's, the checks are still there that were initially there. Another big change is section 3 is adding some authority for the elected officials. And this may be probably, subject to conversation. But I came across a contractor recently with Tracy, and it was, it was less than $5,000. And I was like, why don't you guys have your own authority? And she's like, oh, I think we thought we did, and Keith always thinks he does. And so part of I think what operations has been running up against with the elected officials is they're not cooperating with developing their budgets.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a carrot and stick in this policy. Says, hey, if you work with finance and the county manager to develop your budget, you're gonna have authority to sign off on your contracts up to 25,000 for the clerk, coroner, assessor, treasurer. And then Keith's budget is just so much larger that we felt like 75,000 was more appropriate. There's no magic to these numbers, frankly. If you guys want to discuss them and adjust them, it's just, I think we just kind of looked at it from a perspective of like he's, one equipment order can be over 25,000 pretty quickly.
Can I just jump in real
Sure.
quick, and I apologize if you'll answer this in your next sentences, but what happens if they start like conveyor belting these $25,000 or $75,000?
They still need to be ratified by you all. So if contracts aren't either approved by the county attorney and ratified by you all, they're not gonna get paid
Yeah,
by
Okay.
finance.
finance won't process it at all if it hasn't been ratified by you guys, and also if it's not budgeted. And I think that's, what the point that Nat brought up is Will and I, other than Heath, have, for the most part, made every elected official's budget for them.
Right.
Because we scheduled a time to meet with them, we ask them to come, they don't show up.
Yeah.
And, I think what I'd like to do is if you guys are on board, this year, I'd really like to say, hey, if you don't meet with finance, doesn't even have to be me, like I don't have any control over the elected people, but at least finance. If you don't meet with them to create your budget, the only line item they're gonna put in is your salaries and payroll. Because they do that for everybody, we run it in our software. But other than that, I mean, it's hard to give them the ability to sign and they're like, it's budgeted, and I'm like, you didn't even make your budget, so how would you know it's budgeted?
Yeah.
You know?
So how does this threshold change is this supposed to impel people to engage in their budget so that they don't have to go to the BOCC if they've budgeted it from the beginning?
Yeah.
That's the carrot.
Yeah, and just giving them a little more authority to run their offices
Totally, yeah,
essentially. As long as they're doing it within, the budgetary process of the county, i.e. working with finance,
Right.
and county manager to develop your budget in the first place, not just having Canvas or Will develop it without any input.
I like this, it sounds like how we should have always been doing it, to be honest.
Well, I get elected officials are always gonna have their different perspective, but, at the end of the day, we're all on the same team, right? It's
Yeah.
just like, how do we
Yeah.
function better as a team?
But so this year, there probably aren't that many contracts budgeted for any of the elected officials that would be under that would be like $25,000, right?
So Will went over to meet with Tracy, cause she wasn't available when we first scheduled, and he did sit down with her and go through line by line with her. And so we can see what they've historically done,
Yeah.
right? Unless people are adding 5 million new contracts a year, contracts that they've historically had, like you can see from past years that they're in there.
Yeah.
So what he did is he went ahead and mocked up something and then went and met with them and adjusted it.
Yeah.
But we don't always get people to meet
Yeah.
with us, right? Like if we couldn't have caught her, we would have had to have run with something, but what we'd like is that they're more engaged in that process. We don't mind mocking up, like, here's what you did last year, let's talk about what you think you'll do.
Yeah.
We just would like a little more buy-in from them to work with us on it.
I'm okay with that.
So for instance, that one we just approved for Tracy's security and light remodel, she would have just been able, cause that was a non-budgeted item.
So it's non-budgeted, she still has to bring that kind of stuff to you.
So
If she had budgeted it though, she could have just gone and done it without even bringing it in front of
had
us.
she known
Right.
during budget season that that's something she wanted to do, she could have put that in her budget.
Yeah, and she probably would have shared it with you at that point.
Right.
And that's the other thing, we'd like for them to come present their budget.
Yeah.
Cause they know what they've planned for in it.
I mean, the DA does.
I don't fully know what they've planned for.
Right.
Like if that had been in Tracy's budget, what she just asked for a supplemental for, she could have told you, and this is a thing I plan to do, right? When she was in here presenting it, but it's hard when we're presenting, like Keith came and presented his,
Yeah.
it's hard when we don't have memorized everything they know about their department. We have every department, we just don't have everything memorized. That's why we really would like them to be a part of that process and share with you what it is they plan to do that's outside of their normal day-to-day ops.
Well, and it helps with continuance of government as these elected positions turn over.
Did you just bring up the DA?
Yeah.
How does that come into play with this?
I'm just saying,
Add
the DA is an elected official that came and presented her
Yeah.
budget.
When I see all other elected officials, should we make sure that we're clear on that would or would not include the DA?
Yeah, I think it
You
is pretty
send-
clear, but, yeah, the DA's not,
The
They're
DA,
not
we send
under
a
our
chunk,
They're
we
not
send one
under
big
our-
chunk.
Yeah, okay, I didn't know.
I'm just saying that the DA comes and presents her budget,
Yeah.
even though we're not like approving all of her contracts.
I get that
Yeah.
part,
Oh, I see.
for clarity,
Yeah,
so that they
Yeah.
don't see this and be like, oh, cool, well, I guess
They're
we
not
can
gonna
start.
see it that way at all.
No, like she doesn't fall under.
She has her own entire budget, she manages with,
from
Okay,
finance
cool.
officials.
yeah, being people getting her input from all the other counties, she's in the 5th Judicial District, yeah.
I don't know how those people down there think sometimes, so just throw it out
I think it's clear,
there. Okay,
yeah.
cool. Then I'm good.
Yeah. The other piece in here, I need to, Candace and I just talked about this yesterday, so I haven't really had time to update it, is some emergency spending authority for, public health and DHS. And really haven't thought through what that language would look like, but, DHS and those two agencies continue. They're always gonna have stuff pop up,
Yeah.
you know,
Time sensitive.
weekends, middle of the night,
Don't we have that written into our, I feel like it was up to a certain amount that could be spent by the county manager, unbudgeted, and we just ratify it.
Yeah, but this is more like who can sign the agreement, not the level of paying. Like if they need you an invoice, they can, but sometimes Laura needs to get a contract in place to like deal with an emergent issue at like 2 AM.
Yeah,
And she could just sign the contract right then and there,
yeah,
and we do, respond, but we don't want the holdup to be that she's like, well, I can't sign this and I need to get, kids into housing. And so we'd like to have a little bit of emergency, signature authority for her.
Yeah.
When we're in those instances, or she needs an MOU with another county because it's something we can't take care of for our family.
Yeah.
She can check in with Matt and sign it, versus we don't want the process to be the thing that stops her from being able to take care of people.
has that been a problem so far?
We've had one or two small things where it's, she's trying to get a hold of me to get the contract signed and she's like, can I just sign this? And I have to say, no, email it over, I'll get up and sign it.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to follow the rules that we've put in place. But it would be nice for her to be able to have signature authority, up to a certain amount.
Yeah.
In an emergency.
Well, I'm sorry, I thought we kind of had that a similar conversation before, and I thought we'd already taken care of that one, so if that needs further enhancement, then I'm all for whatever they need.
Me too.
okay. I think the rest of the, sort of the red lines here are really just clarifications. Those are the big changes, the signature authority, the clarifications to the county manager on, just being able to execute these recurring operational type agreements. The authority of the elected officials, subject to, the condition that it's within their budget, that the budget's been developed in coordination with county manager and finance, the agreements reviewed by the county attorney, and the agreement otherwise complies with county procurement and finance policies. And it's subject to ratification by the BOCC as soon as possible after it's signed. And then, anything unbudgeted, there's this section in here that county manager has authority of 10,000 or less for unbudgeted items, subject to, again, being placed.
Ratified. What about the emergency, I feel like there's a separate policy regarding
is,
emergency
For the emergency
finance.
management director, and
Yeah.
that's when we declare an actual emergency.
Yeah,
OEM then has spending authority and we have to track that
Right.
in a completely different way.
that's a different policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have $200,000 set aside, that's earmarked, dedicated for when we declare an emergency, that's what that would be built against. And it's restricted unless we've actually declared the emergency.
And one thing I've talked about with Cami at least, internally in our office is organizing all these policies into sort of a policy book or something.
Yes,
Um,
Matt.
Because they're just all over the place. I'm just learning about this OEM policy just now.
It's in the finance policies.
But it's a little bit ad hoc, there's a lot of things around here. For example, we tried to track down your ordinances recently, because on the website, they only go back to
Hard to find.
1975. Cammy went over to the clerk's office, because the clerk by law is supposed to keep track of the ordinances. So this isn't Tracy's fault, this is way back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy just got here in
Yeah.
like the life of a
Yeah.
clerk.
But there's no record of any ordinances that we can't find without a significant amount of digging. I'm sure they exist, but they're not housed in the clerk and recorder's office. So they went, they're like, oh, there might be something in the basement, so Cammy went down to the basement and there's just, yeah, obviously the county adopted ordinances before 1975, but
Yeah.
I have no idea what they are.
I've been told that filing cabinet in my office contains hidden wealths of knowledge. Someday, I'm gonna keep saying it, we need to go through with that filing cabinet, because I can't make heads or tails of anything that's in there.
Stuart actually got some quotes because we were trying to work on what we were gonna do if we had to move people and move the records on what it would take to get those
Digitized.
digitized, but then they have to be stored correctly, which they're at works, kind of. But they're not cataloged or digitized, and it was pretty expensive. I can bring that info,
I'm sure.
we can see if Stuart could get that information together so you guys know. At some point, that probably should be done.
Yeah.
It is quite expensive.
Put it on the list.
It'd be stored on a disk or a floppy disk or something.
Yeah, they'd be digitally accessible, but then they have to be like cataloged and preserved a certain way and stored and,
Yeah.
And you have to keep the originals.
yeah, for certain.
But you have to keep the original paperwork?
Yeah, but that's part of what you would pay to have someone store it for you
Oh.
correctly, but there's only a few places that do it, but we could do a work session on it, just so you guys have the information.
Sure.
Even if we decide
Yeah.
that we don't do that in our lifetime here,
It's good to have
at
the
least somebody
information.
knows.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to look at that, sorry, it'd be cool to look at some of the ordinances from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's find them.
Like no donkey poop
I'm
on the,
sure there's stuff like that.
on the
yeah.
sidewalk,
You can really get after some stuff.
I mean,
no spitting in the
I can't
car.
imagine it would ever be a legal issue because they're so, if I can't find it, who else can? But it's just kind of odd operating as a
Yeah,
attorney knowing there's laws that are out there and you don't know what they are. So,
Oh, I love your job. Honestly, can we help? I want to go look for ordinances.
if you wanna go down to
Go
the
to his
basement.
I mean, you gotta take right now.
Well, there are no ordinances in there. I wanna
Yeah, like
find
give me a
ordinances.
scanner and I will scan everything in that filing cabinet that I have and try to categorize it
you
into.
can't run it as you scan it though, you gotta be careful.
Sir, I do really wanna go look,
Okay,
so if that's allowed.
yeah,
I mean, like I
Maybe they're
have
public
nothing this
records.
afternoon.
yeah.
I would just take breaks out of there, cause it is in the radon area, but it's pretty high down there.
And I haven't even been down there yet. Cammy went down there with Vera, I think, from the clerk's office, yeah. So
Yeah.
I would just go talk with somebody at the clerk's office, say, hey, I wanna go dig through the public records. or
Okay.
something.
Big discovery party
Yeah,
down there,
It's like-
snacks and.
governmental version of an Easter
I mean,
egg.
there's a ton of history down there, right? You just don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Some really cool things.
Cool. Well, I think this new policy is great. And
Yeah.
I know that people are not gonna understand it, they're just gonna see $100,000 and lose their
I
minds.
was thinking the same thing.
But this is the right policy for the
Well, there's
for
nothing,
the
yeah,
entity.
I'm sorry.
They all still come to you guys
Yeah, that's what I was
on
gonna
the
say.
consent agenda, so if there's anything, cause we don't, finance, our current finance policies, they don't pay anything that hasn't come to recording
Right.
and gotten back to them. That's kind of why we're trying to change the level, is we end up having invoices that are hanging out there. People are waiting to like get paid and we're like, well, we're not gonna pay you or do anything until we have a contract that's been recorded.
Right.
You know, and so this saves us from having to wait till we can get to a really big meeting where we can get every single one of these. It allows us to be like, okay, let's move things up and forward. Because it's really the people who are paying for services that are just hanging out there waiting forever. And then it makes us look like we can't get our stuff paid in time. We're like holding up just like normal day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
This system, and the way this operation would flow will be amazing, a huge improvement. It will work great with the people that we have in place right now, the people who are just, like doing an amazing job in their positions for the community, for the people of Lake County. Would it be weird for me to ask, what happens if, say, we have somebody in the future in finance who's not really good at their job? Does that throw a wrench into some of this as far as like we're gonna catch red flags with everybody who's here right now? We're gonna know something's out of place, something doesn't look right, anything. But say there's someone who is really not that great at their job and just happens to be in there.
That could happen at any point, but ideally, that's why you have policies. Like the finance people are bound to those policies no matter who's in that seat. And that's kind of what a big part of the problem was before, is we never actually, so I don't know if you guys remember, but I redid the finance policies in July last year.
Yes.
And those have never existed before, so there weren't these like checks and balances that, these people are actually held to.
Okay, so it would be like a multi-level, it would take a multi-level failure of like people
Yeah.
not doing their jobs and the people who are supposed to hold them accountable, not even holding them accountable, and then we'd have, okay,
This would have like 5 checks,
yeah,
5 unique positions.
Yeah.
cool. Well, when we talk about 50 years, I just wanna
Yeah.
think about future-proofing stuff against what a possible bad scenario could be.
And that's exactly why you have policies, right? Is you don't design policies for
you.
individuals, you
Yeah.
design them for the organization.
Yeah.
Also, a whole policy book would be so satisfying. That's
It
why
would
they
make my
the
life a lot
finance
easier,
policies.
I bet.
spend so much time hunting for contracts and
Yeah.
policies and resolutions.
There's no manual.
ordinances.
I love a
Like
policy
Michael
book.
was talking about that littering ordinance yesterday, I'm like,
Wherever that is.
I haven't seen that one. With the whistleblower, provision.
Yeah, with the finder's fee.
That's what I did with the
Yeah,
finance
you know what,
policy.
they set
Seriously,
up
it's
game
because
cameras all over these
So there's
things.
a
They can make a living off it.
I-
Honestly, $500 a day.
Following the teenagers around at night,
Yeah.
video camera.
Like, what constitutes dumping? Is that more than like,
And like
does that
one
have
would
to
say
be a-
something contradictory.
more than 2
to
feet
it.
wide of trash, or like?
Litter, I mean, it's littering, isn't it?
Anything,
Yeah, anything.
candy wrapper.
Wow. Should drive a vehicle back and forth on 24 with cameras all over it.
Yeah. The sheriff's department could make some money.
Well, I like this, I think, to kind of wrap it up here, sorry, I think we should wrap it up since we,
Well, that's just this one, we got another
Yeah, we got
policy.
another one.
oh, another policy.
Yeah, this one's probably,
I don't wanna
probably
put
a
out the
little
door.
larger discussion.
You put your shoes back on.
I would imagine. So this one's a new policy, this governance policy, leadership governance policy. This one's probably the highest level policy, you have as a county. So a lot of boards that are in your position have either rules of procedure or some sort of operating manual, right? I know you all have struggled with, hey, what can I do, where are the lines, and this kind of helps clarify those lines, which is obviously all subject to what you all wanna do and how you wanna operate and, how the county, you'd like to see the county operate if you're not sitting in that seat as well, right? So this leadership governance policy, I pulled it from a lot of sources, Eagle County, I pulled heavily from, I think, El Paso, San Miguel, Ouray, Chaffey doesn't have one. A lot of counties don't have one, to be honest, but I think the more better run counties usually have some sort of governance policy when you have a county manager form of operating your government. So this, states the purpose. The purpose of this policy is to establish governance, roles, responsibility, and working relationships between the BOCC, county manager, and county attorney. This policy provides a framework for leadership, decision-making, and organizational oversight while supporting effective, transparent, accountable government. And then it lists the various statutory authority of the BOCC in section 2. Scope of the policy, kind of a repetition, but yeah, it applies to the board's relationship with its two employees, county manager and county attorney. Sets out the sort of the board's overall governance role in section 4. Board focused primarily on strategic leadership, policy direction, fiscal stewardship, oversight of county operation. The board does not directly supervise county staff except for the county manager and county attorney. Only actions taken by the board as a body at a properly noticed public meeting constitute official board action. A lot of this is kind of just restatements of the, meetings law. And there's some standards in here regarding commissioners and like what you'd like to see out of yourselves. There's 4 in here, so maybe we'll pause after this one and chat about these a little bit. So open meetings compliance, commissioners shall avoid communications or actions that could be interpreted as deliberation outside a properly noticed public meeting. Conflicts of interest. Commissioners shall disclose real or perceived conflicts and comply with applicable Colorado ethics laws. Individual authority. No individual commissioner shall represent the official position of the board or direct county staff unless expressly authorized by the board. Public communication, when expressing personal views in county matters, commissioners should clarify that their views do not represent the official position of the board unless authorized by the board. So just pause there, see what your all's thoughts are on those things. Tweak them, change them, add anything.
So many past blunders that could have been avoided had this been in effect earlier. What I'm trying to wrap my head around is how could this, like open meetings compliance and all this, say we make a mistake, just shooting from the hip, talking out in public.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Public communication aspect, what happens when we violate our
Nothing.
leadership governance policy?
Yeah,
People are gonna come at us with torches and pitchforks, like recall petition, you're violating your own policies and, is that?
They came at us with a recall about the animal shelter and nothing actually happened. So, we're accountable to the people, right?
Yeah.
This is more of like procedure than, in my mind, it's more procedure than policy
Okay.
because there is no consequence.
Yeah, it doesn't spell out you get 5
Penalty.
lashings on your hand.
Yeah.
But it is a good reminder, for us and for future board members, like, hey,
Yes,
this stuff is really important and we expect you to uphold the standards of this office.
Well, it's important if you ever get all 3 of you are great, which is one of the reasons I took this job, is that, and I've worked with boards who, if you have 1 or 2 rogue board members, it's horrible.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it makes it horrible for the other
It
people
makes
with
it
it.
horrible.
Oh, for sure.
The whole board, the whole community, people that work for them, having something in place where you can hold each other accountable, I think is important.
Can't you, isn't one of the options to censure a fellow?
It is, I've been through
Is
that
it-
process.
Is it worth putting that in here? Just like, not to say these are the consequences, but kind of as like an onboarding document, pretty much, to inform board members of what their options are for engaging with each
I
other,
don't
or do
know
we
if
just
I
leave it on
put
the
it in
table?
the policy, I think that's allowed under the law.
Yeah.
I think if you, my concern is if you put it in the policy, like Andy said, what happens if we violate it? You're gonna have
When people use it?
people coming in here and, demanding, be censured for saying, some off the cuff remark that really has no.
Yeah, like I need talking points for.
Right.
Oh, I'm already done, sorry guys, I'm getting the
Censured,
yeah, censored hammer.
Yeah, and that's always gonna happen, there's too much gray area in the law, and there, it's just humans being humans, and we all
And free
make mistakes, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're basically, on behalf of Lake County government, looking at applying this policy to us as elected officials. Can we put in place anything similar for other elected officials?
I love that
That'd be nice, I don't think you can.
Do best.
I'll think about that though, a little bit. I mean, you might be able to have some sort of general statement that we would hope all elected officials follow these same principles or something.
That's a lot of work, it's, I think combing through everything that we know some people maybe things they should be doing by CRS statutes that maybe they interpret differently. I don't even know how we get into that mess of trying to encourage our interpretation of CRS rules for other elected officials and then tell them that's how they should be doing their job. So, it was just a thought, I don't know, I know we're very limited on what we can.
Well, we all take an oath of office, a lot of this is in the oath of office, or can we edit the oath of office? No, that's.
It's a statutory oath of
Yeah.
office, yeah.
I mean, I think, we're honestly still in a transition of moving from county commissioner run government to a county manager run government, like we're in chapter 2 of it with Candace and with us as a new board, but I really think this will help get new commissioners on board with the new style of our community running.
Yeah,
So I really like how spelled out it is, honestly, all the way down.
because there are people that may run for office that think that the old way was better.
Mhm.
And, as misinformed as that opinion is,
Oh, they're out there.
this,
They almost sat here.
Well, yeah, and if 3 of them or 2 of them get on a board, they can change the policy.
Totally.
Get rid of Candace, get rid of myself, and
Yeah.
from an operational standpoint and a risk liability standpoint, it's night and day.
Yeah,
The difference, I think.
Yeah.
And I think, I would hope most of the community is starting to see that, but yeah, there's always gonna be.
give them 4 years, they'll see it. Long memories on that, long memories. Yeah. Yeah, I do think that they are starting to see it, but the whole community will take a while. And be more consistent like this as commissioners, I think will help with that.
Oh, I didn't know she's in.
Know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with you guys, right? You're at the top and culture kind of flows down from there, but having this policy in place, I think helps solidify it and draw clear lines for you all, for new commissioners that on board in the future, for us as, myself and Candace, how you interact with each other. Okay, so I'll move on to 6, if we're good with that. So 6 kind of just spells out interaction with staff, which has come up, quite frequently, which could, just because of the historical legacy, and there's always gonna be some of that, which this policy clearly allows for. That you should be able to go to staff and say, hey, I need information on X, Y, Z. The issue comes, I think, from an organizational standpoint, because when you come to staff,
It's a priority for them.
it's gonna be a
Oh,
priority.
sure, yeah.
They're also a little terrified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you walk in, when you walk into the room, you carry that commissioner weight, and they're gonna be paying heavily attention to you, and they're gonna drop everything they're doing to do that duty ask.
Which is a hoot. It's like, I actually have like no power, so I don't know why.
I
get it, I'm just saying, it's just wild.
You have a lot more than staff, for sure.
It's crazy to
Do
think
we?
about that, you just kind of win a popularity contest and then you get to do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's,
Yes,
and
no.
Wild.
it's, how that happens in different organizations and cultures, it's, there's different ways to do it, but this is sort of standard, I think, to draw that line, to make sure your county manager, because a lot of times staff's not gonna know the bigger picture. Sometimes you may not even know what the county manager knows operationally is going on, just because there's so much going on every day and how all these pieces fit together. Which is why it's important, I think, to make sure everything kind of goes through Canvas as whoever your county manager is, to understand
Yeah.
the bigger picture. Because, staff will drop everything.
We've seen it happen. Yeah.
And that's how it happened,
Yeah.
it used to be.
How it used to be.
Yeah. Like someone could have, in a previous version of us, could have leaned on Road and Bridge to, hey, pave my street. Now it's ahead of the
That wouldn't work.
No.
Road
I don't think there's any
improvement plan.
proof that has ever
That would
happened.
be unethical. That would violate policy.
Well, will now.
Would that be conflict of interest?
Oh, it'd be direction to staff.
It'd be
It
direction
would
to
be
staff.
giving, without, the backing of the board overall, yeah.
Because staff, if one of you goes to them, they don't know whether we discuss this in a BOCC meeting or not.
Yeah.
Like, you could have a rogue council member who just wants whatever it is that they want done. And we do ask staff, like, hey, if someone comes to you directly, loop us in so we can all be on the same page, so we can make sure everybody in this room is on the same page. But that's really why this is in place. Without this in place, it is just like anybody can go to staff and give them direction, whether you all agree on it or not. It might be something one of you really feels passionately like, no, we're not doing that,
Yeah.
I tried to be really good about the skate park thing.
I was gonna say the skateboard.
That's why I put it in there yesterday. But that's the thing, is if you let me know that, I'm gonna be like, hey, let's get in front of everybody, so we do have that direction as a board, that's where you wanna spend our time, energy, resources.
Yeah.
Same with Matt and his grooming, everything came across this table, there was
Yeah.
no, which,
And
I've
Elsa
seen
and her.
Gold.
Winter,
You weren't
I
even
haven't
in the
forgot.
meeting.
I was gonna say diapers and feminine products.
Wow, that's something you
No.
all care about too.
yeah, we're talking about the whole loaf, not the crumbs.
Remember before we were commissioners, when we had that meeting at the Nordic Center? And we all shared up in the,
Oh, yeah.
we all shared like the thing that mattered to us.
That was ancient history, I can't even remember that. I remember sitting there, I don't remember.
We were all,
You cared about grooming.
Yeah.
You cared about OHV. And I cared about something.
Yeah, my memories of that were old, yeah.
thing, I thought it was like
The whole,
Yeah.
it was the whole department.
the whole
I went big.
boodle.
Okay, I love this. So let's just clarify this for a second. So I think I understand this, it's very clear. But say we need information, say I need information about a housing bill. my impression from you, Candace, is that I can totally go talk to Jackie about it, but I just CC you.
Or let me know
Or
you're
I-
gonna go talk with her,
Let you know,
or
yeah.
I think Josh and Rachel, if you don't mind to copy them, cause we each manage
Yeah, so
different people.
whoever's in charge of the
Yeah.
department.
Cause I'll try to remember to tell them, but it's kinda easier if
Yeah.
they're already on there, so I'm not like, oh yeah, I need to tell them.
Yeah.
And then I tell them after it's happened. I don't have a problem with that, cause if they have a question, they're gonna ask you before that happens.
So then if, this is just easy to use with Jackie, cause we've done it.
Yeah.
But say then, I really need talking points.
Yeah.
That is a project I'm asking for
Yeah.
staff time, that's when I go back to Josh and I say, hey, I would really like talking points or a one pager on this. And then I clear it with whoever the county manager person is to make sure
Yeah.
that I'm not asking for
Yeah.
staff time that
And
they-
I'd say just like copy me with them, right? Cause I think that's when we can be like, oh, whoa, you guys don't realize Stuart's got 18 other things that are kind of a high priority right now that we're working on that are like required because the state makes us do something,
Yeah.
right? And that's where we can say, hey, that's great, but they are really swamped, could you keep it to like a 30 minutes of their time?
Yeah.
You know, if they're like really underwater, which sometimes we know Ann is, you know, and her
Totally.
department is doing all these other required things that never come up in here. It's like we all have things, like finance has stuff they have to submit to the state by certain times,
Yeah.
and that's not like something we're talking about in here, but those requirements, you know, if it's the end of audit season, I'm probably gonna be like, yeah, could you reach out to Will next month if you have a question? That's really, you know, he's underwater right now, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or then the county manager's office can say, okay, we're not, I can see how you would go to Jackie, but we're actually gonna go to these other people and
Yeah.
still get it to you.
Yep.
In time, but let us coordinate who's actually putting the info together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Sounds like a great stabilizing effort.
Yeah, and I mean, these provisions too are really valuable. We've been going around to all the departments. We're calling the county manager's office roadshow, visiting with each staff, you know, each group of staff to just kind of take the punches, learn feedback, get ideas for process improvements and things. And this is one that's come up fairly consistently, and I think it makes sense to include in this policy because it's been raised that there's confusion about when they are supposed to shift gears and work on things that come directly from commissioners. So
Yeah.
clarifying this not only helps, I think, you all, but also helps staff understand, okay, this is my responsibility, I know to check in with the county manager's office in case if something like this comes up. And then that just keeps everybody kind of informed as to where we're at.
It's like the hourglass, you guys are in the middle, and everything above and below, whichever way is going, it's gonna go through you guys to organize, coordinate, incentivize efficiency.
I mean, I struggled with this issue personally when I was on the Salida School Board, because there was a very, very bright line on the Salida School Board that the school board members did not communicate with anything other than the superintendent, who's on the Board of Education, that's the Board of Education's only employee,
Yeah.
and then the superintendent. And that's traditionally how school boards function, and we had probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 new members on that board that were like, no, we wanna be able to talk to staff on some level, and we respected, the superintendent's authority, and we finally came to this cohesion where, yeah, there was a balance, like we could go to them and ask questions, but we're not like
Right,
getting involved in personnel
Right.
decisions and things like that,
you're just asking
yeah.
questions. Yeah, cause we also need to be informed in a timely manner,
Mhm.
and that is where that seems really clear, but we're in the transition
Yeah,
where it hasn't been clear.
yeah.
So basically with staff, it's discovery, not direction.
Yeah.
If we need to direct, it goes through leadership.
That's probably a good way to phrase it, yeah. Unless, the direction should always be coordinated with the county manager, but, sometimes the direction is gonna come directly from the board, and if you don't have a county manager doing their job, some board, there's always gonna be this gray area, but this is a general framework of just organizational structure.
Mhm.
I like it.
Me too. So will this live within the policy handbook?
Yes.
The policy book that doesn't exist
Soon to
yet.
be.
Heck, yeah.
I mean, one of the things, yeah, I'll probably, if that's the direction you guys wanna go, we could certainly start working on that, it sounds like it is, and I'll probably start assigning some sort of names to these policies, like, or, you know, A1 or B2 or whatever categories, yeah, to break them out, and make them easy for everyone to find, the board and staff alike, so otherwise it's, you know, people are looking at different versions and,
Yeah.
and everything else.
It would be really good for everybody that works for the county to know what this says, so that they can know that, hey, one of the commissioners is in violation of the policy.
Yeah.
Who can I talk to? And then that's another way of policing it.
The
A lot
county
of
manager
this-
can
Cause
bring
then
it
if
up
it comes
to
to
the.
me, I'm gonna go to the chair, you
Right.
know, and then let the
rest of
chair
the
kind
board.
of, you know, manage the BOCC,
Yeah,
you know, and
because a
then
lot of this
figure
is
out who it is.
self-policing, you know,
At the end of the day, it's all gonna be self-policing, right? Yeah.
But at least there's a guideline, there's something there to go off of.
Yeah, these are like agreements between us.
Right.
Yeah.
These are agreements between the whole team. of this
Yeah,
program.
our commitment to the team and the community.
I guess what I'm saying is if staff knows, even like the janitors, like, hey, I know, I read the policy and you're.
You can't tell me what to do.
You can't tell me to do this first and that second, I don't know. It's just good, it's really good, I like it.
Yeah.
Makes me wanna develop my own policy handbook for my job sites.
Okay, should we move on to number 7, just kind of commitments from the working boards, as I was looking at this, I'm wondering if just the structure, maybe we can try to structure this in with commissioner conduct at 5 above, but anyway, just kind of working commitments that POCC is committed to working with one another, elected officials, staff, and the public in a manner that emphasizes collaboration, respect, and preparation and communication. Commissioners agree to work collaboratively to reach informed decisions, respect differing viewpoints, and maintain professional conduct. Prepare for meetings by reviewing materials in advance, communicate openly with each other. County manager and county attorney share information relevant to board decision-making. These commitments are intended to support a collaborative governance culture rather than establish enforceable rules. So that's kind of to your earlier point, thinking, what happens if we violate these policies? We're really meant to establish a culture rather than a punitive framework, yeah.
Okay. Cause I will make mistakes. There are times I look at stuff that's on the agenda and I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna be easy. And then in the meeting, it's like, unpacks into this giant thing. I'm like, okay, I didn't do enough.
Well, and there's gonna be times when you just don't have time to read the packet, or you get the information late, like, these policies.
Because we
I have
could
not
run the
reviewed these
folder.
policies, ownership.
Okay, so chair responsibilities, chair of the board will preside over the meetings of the board. I guess we need to talk about the second one, coordinate with the county manager regarding meeting agendas. I don't think that's currently happening. So I don't know if we want it to happen, I think we've had some chats about that. Facilitate board discussions and deliberations. So this is one I've been sort of changing, I don't know if you all have noticed, but signing documents on behalf of the board, it seems kind of silly to have all 3 of you signing these things. If you all 3 want to sign them, that's fine, but it seems to create a lot of work, and it seems just having the chair sign resolutions, ordinances, contracts, makes it a lot easier for everybody, tracking down signatures, but again, it's your call. If you want to have 3 people, we can prepare them, but I've been making it the chair sign off on a lot of things, rather than 3 people, so, which I know has happened in the past.
I mean, I really feel that, like, especially when we're going back and like, which commissioner did this? like, I think it's nice historically to see all the commissioners who were seated at that time, as opposed to knowing like, oh, that was 2009. These are the people who were seated.
So what we could do is in a resolution or an ordinance, you could have like a roll call vote section.
Yeah,
Commissioner Bullock,
Yeah.
Commissioner Lee.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
yes or no, or absent or abstain.
That's all I'm talking
So that would be a historical record.
I'm for that.
And then still the chair would be signing whatever gets passed.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll start doing that.
Awesome.
What about the agenda piece? Let's chat about that a little bit.
Yes.
How that's getting set and what's working, what isn't working. I think Airtable has been a huge improvement from what happened in the past in terms of pushing information and making sure everyone's on the same page. But it still seems a little, if you all want to get something on the agenda, I'm still not clear on how that's happening. I know the work session, there's something in Airtable now. Yeah.
So when you guys request, one of the other two of you will say you want the session and then we work with Sandra to get it scheduled.
Yeah.
I'd say in the development of processes in Lake County government, we're probably not at a place where I can be like, we fully planned this. I mean, we all know that this meeting is happening because at the last minute, we had to make a change. So I think I can let people know kind of this is what we think we're gonna do, but if somebody's not, and this is really part of us holding staff accountable. If a staff member is not ready to go, this is what would happen in a county where the clerk helps actually put the agenda together, which that's not what's happening here.
Yeah.
Normally that person and I would work together really closely, and if staff don't have things in on Friday when they're gonna post and put out the packet, like normally your, clerk's office is doing that, it doesn't go.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the clerks lined up that they hold.
Yeah.
Because we have done that internally with a staff member, and I think it's been pretty flexible, like people are scrambling into the last minute. We might discuss what we think we're gonna do and something comes off. Because if staff aren't ready to go, or we get a document back from them that I'm like, this is just not well thought out, you don't have all the information. Part of us being able to hold staff accountable is that if they're not ready to go by the deadline, which would be happening if we had somebody else who wasn't on our staff doing it, they'd be like, no, you didn't have this into me, this isn't ready. So I do think, I don't mind running through what we are planning, knowing that if we have staff that aren't ready or an external partner who comes back and says, oh, well, actually I can't do that now, or this person can't join, we're still at a point where sometimes the agenda is changing up until like the deadline that Sandra has set with people. We are trying to get out of that life of sliding into home base.
Yeah.
At the last minute, but that is a huge organizational shift.
And the external partner component, I was
Yeah,
glad you mentioned that, because I feel like it's kind of out of our hands a lot of the time, you can't tell Excel to get their packet together before.
yeah. And sometimes we're trying to get people to give it to us ahead of time, but sometimes people are like, I brought it with me on my flash drive, even though we've asked for it
Yeah.
90 different ways and times before we sit in here.
So maybe that line is something more of like, I don't know how to add some flexibility to that second bullet point about coordinate with the county manager regarding meeting
yeah.
agendas
And I
to the
don't know
best of
whether
your
I keep
ability
it,
or
'cause it's really
within
not
reason.
happening right now, and it could be a little bit of a shift, but.
when possible.
I mean, I don't know how
I think
you
it
all
should.
feel about, your agendas and ability to get stuff you wanna discuss on your agenda and how you go about that. It seems like I've sensed a little bit of frustration, you're all elected to do whatever and, you have your various goals and you wanna move them forward, but, you have to do that as a group and convince your other two fellow commissioners that's the direction the county should be going, but yeah, how that, I mean, it seems like it's happening, but I don't know how you all feel about it, which is the important part, yeah.
I can imagine Elsa's frustrated because she's requested a few that have taken a long time for us to get on there.
Not that, I think that's like a work session. I get why the work sessions are, but I think what I'm hearing from Matt is the agenda for like a regular meeting. And sometimes it's not, I get it, or it doesn't matter. I think, I just watched city council go through this. They spent like the last 6 months going through, because there are 7 of them. And they did not have a process for getting something onto their agenda. So it was just the mayor and the city administrator would decide what was on the agenda. And an individual city council member couldn't request something to be on the agenda and actually get it on. So now they have this whole process. It's overbuilt, but they're building something. And I feel like with us, it doesn't have to be that convoluted. Like I think that in order for us to follow our open meeting laws, even if staff isn't ready to talk about something, the only way we can talk about something is if it's on the agenda.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really, I would personally like for the chair and the county manager to work together on the agenda, just so that there's like that oversight going on of like, oh, this got taken off again, oh, this got taken off again. Just so that there's some like supervisory accountability for like, okay, how's it going with your staff? How are people prepping? What are your plans to try to get them on board? I just think that that's like a professional way for the chair to be able to be working with the county manager. But I personally would like it if any one of us could request something to be on the agenda. And it's up to that person to put together the memo, to prepare the other people about what they wanna talk about. So like if Andy wants to talk about the skate park and staff isn't ready, if Andy wants to put together his own memo, it can be on our agenda.
Yeah,
How
like
I
say I
would
just
want
wanna talk to you guys about how something goes, but
Right,
due to open record laws, I want it at least to be an item on the agenda, just open discussion about
this,
one subject. There will
Yes.
be no, like,
And I think,
serious direction or allocation of funds, it's just more of like, hey, let's talk about this thing just so we can all
yeah,
understand what I know.
yeah, I like that. Because there's only 3 of us, like if 2 of us had to agree to even talk about that, I just feel like that's really gatekeepy a little bit to me. Like if one of us were the odd one out in terms of things that we cared about, the other 2 could keep it from even being discussed at this table, and I don't like that.
You know,
or could the chair, under this sentence, coordinate with the county manager, could the chair say, no, we're just not gonna put that on the agenda?
Right,
Well, the chair is always gonna have a little more discretion
yeah,
to do that. I mean, again, depending on how you structure it, I hate to keep bringing up Salida School Board, but
that's okay.
how we did it there was it was a little easier, cause you have a 7-member board, so, the board president, the superintendent would meet, a couple weeks prior to the board meeting, and another board member, and they would go over the agenda. It's usually the superintendent kind of structuring it and leading that conversation with, like you said, also just some oversight from the president, and there would be a check-in, like the board would, the president would send an email to the rest of the board, hey, we're having our agenda setting meeting.
Yep.
Anything anybody wanna put on the agenda?
I love that.
And 9 times out of 10 it's no, but occasionally stuff bubbles up, we're like, yeah, we need to talk about X, Y, or Z, or I'd like to talk about X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, I think the smoother the pipeline of getting discussion pieces in front of us that we wanna be able to talk about, so that we're not having sidebar conversations,
right,
the better. And then also, like the way I watch city council just do it, it's cuckoo pants. It's like one person has to have the idea and they have to get at least 2 other city council members to agree to bring it to the next city council meeting for the whole council to vote on whether it should go on to the next agenda. And I don't like that. Yeah, so anyway,
Could we add to your current Airtable, like, I want this to be a regular session item, so that way when I go to sit down with the chair, I have a running log, and the chair's not like going to collect these things or not remembering exactly what was asked for, so the person who wants something, it's like written there,
Yeah,
it's kind of clear. And then we can talk about, hey, there are some time slots here, cause usually Sandra, who really, quite frankly, is the
Yeah.
one I'm not reaching out to hundreds of people being like, are you available at 2 p.m. on, you know?
yeah.
Sometimes I do, but like really, she's getting things dialed so that I'm like, okay, I know this is what we're rolling into for next week. Then I could sit down with the chair and say, here's what we've kind of got mocked out. And sometimes she's got to hold because we're waiting to hear back from somebody. And then we would have the list of items from Airtable that any of you could say, I want this to be a regular item.
Heck yeah.
And I think, that meeting with the chair and the county manager, there's always gonna be times when, the county manager's gonna say, hey, can we hold off on this? This really needs to be fleshed out more by staff before we can have a good discussion on it. And that give and take can happen, like Canada said, up to the point of the meeting,
Yeah.
really.
Well, up till we have to post 24
Right,
hours ago, but.
And I think you can all, I don't see this as an open meetings law violation when you, send out an email and say, hey, anybody want anything on the agenda or want me to discuss? And somebody in reply, oh, we need to discuss this.
Yeah.
That's just coordination, that's not discussion of what you're actually wanting to talk about, you're just saying, I wanna talk about this. It's not a policy making thing that would be an open meetings law violation. And that way you're all sort of on the same page. And I don't know if we need to spell all that out into that level of detail in the policy, or if we need to flesh this out a little more.
we just have like, so we're kind of looking at like two different categories of where I want this as a subject on a work session so we can fully bring in staff and get a lot of discovery and back and forth versus I just want to be able to talk about this briefly with the people in the room kind of situations. And can we just continue to use the same Airtable setup that we've already got, but just have a different way
Yeah,
of
like
typing the title or use an asterisk or something that just like, hey, here, this is just a discussion item, not a deeply involved staff item.
I think you could put that in the notes, and then I might just talk with Justin to see, I don't think it'd be that hard to add like a radio button that's like, I want this on a work session versus I want this on a regular, so that way I know
Yeah.
what the intent is.
Well, I guess the only
I mean,
difference
you
is
could type it in the notes.
we can have any of those conversations in a regular agenda, on a regular agenda or a work session. The only difference is, what I'm proposing is that any one of us can request a discussion be put onto a regular or a work session, but we can't ask, like, we have to have some sort of, two of us agree to dedicate staff time
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the distinction, right? Yeah. So any one of us can request a discussion or,
Without
An
anyone else
agenda.
agreeing.
Discussion item,
Without
just so we
anyone
can legally talk about a specific subject that
yes,
we wanna be able to talk about that might not have already been on the agenda
yes.
of this.
Okay, that sounds good.
And then I also really think it'd be great if we, in those Airtable things, it has like, we'll talk about this and this and this. Let's say I wanted to bring the sales tax of the incontinence and period products. I feel like it would be my responsibility to put together a memo. Like, I'm the one who wanted to talk about this, I'm the one who wanted to bring information about it and try to have a conversation. I would write a memo about why, if it wasn't already part of county operations, you
Even if it's
know?
just a brief, you know,
Yeah,
half paragraph, like just something that
right,
sets it up a little bit.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
helps us prepare for the conversation.
exactly.
Well,
Same with
question-
Andy, if you wanted to talk about the skate park,
Yeah,
you would put together a little memo if it didn't involve staff.
Yeah.
If our conversation didn't involve staff, right?
how do we access the memo template? Is that
It's
in
on OneDrive.
one?
You can also ask Sandra to make your memo, that's part of what she does,
Yeah.
right? But you would have to be like clear, you know, what you want in the memo,
Well, it's like,
so she's not like guessing.
there are really only like two categories, right? It's the background and then decision, and then there's budget and
Who would I ask to say, hey, can you help me
Sandra.
with
Sandra.
OneDrive and how to?
Oh,
Okay.
do we think Justin, if they need help understanding IT, like OneDrive, could Justin do like the same training we just did for staff for each of these guys that need it?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
he's always welcome or open to any like direct targeted trainings.
Awesome.
We're also doing a recurring training series now.
That staff
we
can
added,
attend.
Yeah, but yeah,
can we attend?
Teams, OneDrive, I honestly, to solve the memo question, you might be able to include that as a part of the Airtable
And
submission.
I think I have like a couple things I would like to, that would involve staff time, so I'll just get real specific with what I need. I would like to formulate a better understanding of OneDrive. And I'd like to add something that maybe I could ask Matt about added to my emails as a disclaimer at the bottom about, hours and, you know, like the,
Oh, yeah,
you know, like everybody has these really cool lengthy things at the bottom of
like mine says, just cause I responded this time doesn't mean
Doesn't-
I'm crazy and I think you should.
Yeah, like my hours might not be your
Much
hours
nicer.
kind of thing, and
Nicer than that,
please
but-
be patient, you know, like there's a
Or
lot
like
of,
all of this is horrible,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say crazy stuff and neither should you.
No, yeah,
Call me if you wanna have a crazy talk.
you know, don't take a lack of responses, you know, like there was.
A lack of
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got schooled
So
in
changing
court
your
yesterday
signature?
by Jeff Romer, Mr. Romer, I went to court with him yesterday after that long meeting. I responded to his email that I think he CC'd you all on, right?
yeah,
And I said, hey, working through this with staff and I was just catching up on stuff last Friday, you know, that I slipped through the cracks like late Friday before I went home for the weekend. And I emailed him like, whatever, like close to 5 on Friday, he made this big stink about it in court, how I like sandbagged him and just was on and on. So
Oh my
apparently I
god.
shouldn't respond to emails at 5 o'clock on Friday.
Oh,
I mean, the judge thought he was crazy too, he was just kind of ranting and raving, but
that's
I
lucky.
thought it was funny.
yeah. Well, you know, people get, there's a lot of longtime community members who are used to things being run a certain way, and I
He
think it's,
requested the 3 of you to appear in court at the next year, and the judge was like, no, I'm not gonna order that, I'm sorry.
I got fun.
yeah.
Sure, yeah, what's up?
We're dealing with a lot of holdovers from a time when these 3 commissioners basically knew everybody and everything that was going on, like, oh yeah, that's my buddy, I'm gonna go do this for them, you know, like, so, you know, I think, when we're looking at long tenured locals, their expectations might seem pretty out there to us, but I think the way this county used to run might be why some of these things come up like that, that just seem wild to us, but not to other people, so.
Jeff Romer.
Would you guys care if I work with Sandra to look at schedules and schedule like a IT training
Yeah.
with you guys and Justin in here so he can
Yeah,
Get all of us at once.
also, cause somebody might, I think there's a value in training with more than one person, cause somebody might ask a question that you don't even know to ask and then he's gonna do all of it.
Totally.
I think that might be
That'd be
helpful.
great.
I was gonna
That'd be terrific.
Okay,
mention.
I'll try to do a Tuesday when we're all already around, that's not as long as yesterday.
Put it on the agenda item, the public can watch.
Yeah,
So in terms of this policy, I'm not sure we need to change this anything anymore with just coordinate the chair responsibilities and with this underlying understanding that, I mean, I guess we can make it clear that, maybe the chair or something coordinates with his fellow commissioners and asks if there's anything that needs to be discussed. I'll think about that.
Okay.
See, that's some language that we can put in a policy around what we just discussed.
Great.
Okay, 9 and 10 deal with sort of your delegation of authority to your county manager. Making it clear that county manager serves as I just put chief administrative officer of Lake County, you can call it whatever you want. The board's connection to day-to-day operations of the county is to the county manager. County manager serves at the direction of the board and is accountable to the board for administration of the county operations. Except for legal matters assigned to the county attorney, the county manager has supervisory and operational authority for county staff and daily operations of county government. Board direction, only decisions of the board acting are binding on the county manager. Instructions or requests from individual commissioners do not constitute board direction. Just communication expectations from the county manager is expect him to inform the board of significant operational matters, identify issues that may require policy direction, provide information necessary for informed board decision-making, inform the board of significant public concerns or trends affecting county operations, and then just relations with other elected officials. County managers will work cooperatively with other elected officials to promote coordination of county priorities while respecting the independent authority of those offices. Pretty high level, but I think a good framework.
Oh man, I forgot something from the previous policy that I wanted to bring up.
We can go
Is
back.
it okay? I feel like last year there was a lot of concern, especially because, at least from the clerk's office, our concern with the clerk's office with going into contracts that were like antithetical to the operations of the county, specifically around IT. And I do think that, so I wanted to bring that up, but maybe the way that this gets caught is that that is a discussion at the beginning of the year when we're doing our or at the end of the year when we're doing our budget conversations, and that's where we say, no, you can't go into an IT contract. You can't budget for an IT contract that would spend more money than,
Yeah, we have an
That would be
IT
redundant.
department, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
but where is that line when it comes to not being able to dictate to other county officials how they do their jobs?
Well, that's a budgetary decision at the end of the day, right? It's not telling them how to do their jobs, it's saying, well, you can do your job, you just need to use
This
the IT
equipment.
department. There are a lot of, to play devil's advocate for Tracy a little bit, she raised a lot of the issues with me, like around elections specifically, and
Yeah.
why she needed to use this independent contractor, and I think we all decided it just wasn't a battle worth fighting, but there are specific issues around elections that I don't know how up to speed our IT department is on it.
I think they will be more up to speed with it, since we actually have an IT team.
Yeah.
Which we really, we had someone who was tackling IT issues.
Yeah.
While doing 18 other jobs. But I do know that our IT team they're working on pretty specific IT policies about provisioning new IT equipment and I would think that maybe it's worth saying in here or in our finance policies, which we'll update in July. We update them every year in July if a change is needed. To say like in accordance with established IT policies or finance policies or maybe something of that nature, so people are still following the like finance, HR and IT policies that are in place. I don't know what you think about that. Cause you guys will, the IT policy will come to you guys
Mhm.
to approve.
Yeah, it's so hard with these elected officials, but I think the more you can kind of gently encourage them, and again, at the end of the day, you have the ultimate power to say no to their, or yes to their budget.
Financial, yeah.
Which is a big stick, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just so sorry, you know, we have an IDT department for this, we're not gonna allocate an extra 25,000 when it's gonna be handled in-house, yeah.
Okay. So because it's financial and that's our statutory responsibility, is that the difference from us being able to say, no, you can't budget for that equipment, you have to use ours, versus, no, you can't hire that person, you have to hire somebody else? Like, we don't actually have that authority,
You don't have
but we do
hiring.
have the financial authority,
Yeah.
to say,
even though everybody is under our HR policy.
it's very complicated, yeah, we're dealing.
Just trying to find the lines.
We can say
There-
you
there are
can't add a new
Fuzzy
FTE.
lines.
Yeah,
Yeah, that isn't
But,
budgeted.
Yeah, no,
we can't say you can't hire that person.
I remember
Yeah.
Dennis
Fire them or we hire them,
saying that,
But we
you know,
don't okay.
which we're currently dealing with in one department.
Yeah, I know about it. I'm guessing. It could be any number one of them, actually, I have no idea.
the way it was explained to me, basically, from really knowledgeable folks, was like, no, you can't tell them what to do, but you control the purse strings.
Yeah,
But I think that's the difference, right? It's easy to see that with the DA, where it's like, yeah, we're just giving you this whole pot of money. You've had to justify the pot of money, but that's not actually what we're doing with our in-house elected officials, where it's like, I can see how they would make the argument that something nitpicky like that is telling them how they have to do their job.
It actually is pretty similar, you know, it's almost like we're not, you know, it's an echo of what we're doing with the DA. Here's your budget, here's what you have to work with, anything else, you know, we can control the.
But it's that initial budget allocation where you, I mean, just like with the DA you did last year, right? Like, sorry,
Right.
you can't afford to give you your entire allocation. It's the same thing with the electeds here, it's like, you know, we're not gonna budget for this additional extra, you know, software requirement because we already
we
have
already
that.
paid for it, you know?
Yeah,
I think it might be worth planting the seeds early too with anyone who is coming into these positions of like, hey, like this had always been done this way, but we are implementing systems to save the county money and give like advance notice of this will not be the process moving forward.
Well, this is also where, like, if you have to work with Matt before, you know, cause Matt does say, like, the contract's gotta kind of be reviewed, like, Matt and I meet all the time. We check in with one another when we get requests for things, like, that's really where, like, if someone is trying to buy, let's just say DocuSign, right? I know that maybe we're gonna have a DocuSign contract for legal, and if someone else is gonna go try to get a DocuSign contract that's elected, I'm gonna say, wait, we use DocuSign already as one of our IT systems. Let's get you guys licenses, which are already under our contract, and we pay less for an additional license for whoever needs one than I do to pay for a whole new DocuSign contract, right?
right.
So we're gonna try to get them under that, whatever that IT system is, before we go purchase a new contract, and that's kind of where we're gonna be able to catch those things, is we work really closely. You know, even when he gets contracts from elected people, we kind of check in, cause it's like, if we already pay for this,
Yeah,
we're like, I don't know, pick another system, whatever it is, somebody wants an Airtable login,
yeah,
right? We pay by seat, right? So I'm gonna say, hey, well, if you need to use that, we already pay for the overarching software, let me get you a seat on the bus, rather than pay for a second round of the software.
Is there room in the commissioner's governance policy to spell out something about how we interact with the other elected officials about when an ask is made of the BOCC they will defer to most, like, more fiscally responsible, basically spelling it out that, like, well, we control the purse strings and we have an obligation to the taxpayers to do what is the most.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. There's nothing in here, but that's certainly, something we could,
But when there are requests, we defer to the most fiscally responsible option.
take a crack at adding, some sort of provisions around, like you said, sort of relationships and interactions with the BOCC and fellow elected officials, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Especially when it comes to budget items, yeah.
It says that in our finance policies,
It does, okay,
if you want to reference them.
okay.
I definitely said that, it was like, after that.
Just can reference
Sunglasses
something,
discussion.
I think we've had that situation a few times, and if we can reference something, like, hey, it's our job to do this way, sorry, getting your shiny.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only, the real statutory bright line is just you cannot dictate what they do with their staff, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they have the power, or, you know, there's statutory authorities that they all have too. You obviously can't interfere with them, but, you know, the budget's a big one. That's really the ultimate, check on where you all hold everything together. You can't control who gets elected in these offices or who runs for them, and, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I like that, Andy.
Thanks.
Alright. So delegation to county attorney, role of the county attorney represents Lake County as a legal entity, not individual commissioners except when authorized by the board or required by law. County attorney provides legal services to the board. County departments and elected officials is authorized by the board. County attorney represents Lake County as a legal entity, not individual commissioners. It's redundant, I think I'll take that out. Board of commissioners is the county attorney's client in matters involving the governance of Lake County. County attorney provides legal advice and counsel, assists the board, elected officials, county staff, understanding legal requirements, risk, available options. The county attorney does not make policy decisions or operational decisions on behalf of the county. Final decisions regarding county policy, direction, actions are made with the BOCC, acting as a body, except to the extent authorized and has been delegated to the county manager. County manager is responsible for overseeing legal matters affecting the county, including providing legal advice to the board and county officials, reviewing and negotiating contracts, managing litigation involving the county, coordinating outside counsel when necessary. Board direction, only decisions of the board acting body or bonding on the county attorney. Communication expectations, the county attorney shall keep the board informed regarding legal matters that may affect county operations, finances, or policy. This includes potential impending litigation, legal risk and liability exposure, significant changes in applicable law, legal issues affecting county programs or policy, requests for legal advice by individual commissioners. Individual commissioners may request legal advice from the county attorney regarding their duties. The county attorney may provide such advice as appropriate. However, legal advice provided to an individual commissioner does not constitute direction from the board or an official legal position of the county unless the issue has been presented and considered by the board acting as a body. And then there's stuff about a performance evaluation in here for both myself and the county manager. And I know this came up recently as well with performance evaluation, so we need to make sure all this stuff, probably need to run through, you know, our contracts, make sure it aligns with what's ever in the contracts. I think this is pretty broad
Yeah,
evaluation criteria that probably fleshes out our evaluations a little more than what it says in our contracts, that just we shall be evaluated. Actually provides some criteria of what we get evaluated on.
And currently, both your contracts have that the performance evaluation will be what is used by all other directors. So right now, there isn't actually room, unless you all explicitly volunteer to have a different performance evaluation. You just get evaluated the same way as everybody else. But I like this better, and
There's probably, again, this is
you can fit it in.
pretty general
Yeah.
criteria. I imagine there's a lot of overlap with how
Yes.
other
yeah.
directors are being evaluated, but
Just saying, you guys don't have different performance evaluations
right,
in your contracts,
right,
at least for 2 years.
right.
I just messed your document up trying to delete that space.
No touching.
That extra space was really driving me crazy enough.
Yes, it is uncomfortable. Please make it better.
And then there's just a general waiver, if the board
Okay.
has a specific item that the board can kind of waive that. I'm not sure when that would come up. I've kind of thought through whether it's good or bad to have that provision in there, but ultimately I kind of left it in, I guess.
Does that come from another communities?
I'm guessing it came from, I'm not sure where, but yeah, I imagine.
It's not like, it's the board can waive, it's not a commissioner can waive, which feels okay to me.
I mean, you guys can always do it anyways, it's like, I don't know that it needs to be, it's probably better to have it stated as I'm just thinking out loud, because it's something legally you can do anyway, so why not just put it in here? Well, if you wanna do it, here's how you do it. You just don't act individually to do it, you do it as a board.
So also just for you, it says that we'll be evaluated in the same manner that other staff are, so if you wanna change our criteria to these. And our contracts that you can change the criteria you use. So they don't have to be the same buckets that other staff are in, it's in the same method that they're done in,
Yeah.
is what the contract says. So if
Yeah.
these are the things that we wanted to focus on, and it says that if we wanna change the things we're gonna focus on, we all sit down together and discuss that, and then make that change before the start of the next fiscal year, so you go into the year knowing what you're working on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say it has to be the exact same criteria.
Sweet. That's great.
Yeah, and in my, just kind of preluding things a little bit for the year, I would like to take a look at my contract, and get a performance evaluation with the 3 of you prior to the election, when,
Yeah,
when it was,
somebody new.
Yeah.
that seems more fair to me, the county,
Yeah. Well, yours should be coming up in
September, so
Yeah.
So we'll start it, it's a 6-week process,
yeah.
so we'll start it in mid-July.
And then, we signed a contract with Lions Gaddis for them to have, as conflict counsel as well, so.
Yeah, that sounds
So, negotiating my employment contract with you all.
And yours is a 2-year, right, Matt?
I think it's 1 year,
Oh, it's just 1 year.
so,
Okay, so we can use them this year.
yeah.
But Candace is on a 2-year, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll use Candace.
Yeah, I don't think I can't remember.
I think yours is too. I can't remember.
Did you like us so much that you were down for a 2-year contract?
Anyway, I'd like to try to renegotiate it with the 3 of you prior to the election, just, if it says 2 year,
That sounds great.
Cause who knows what happens in elections?
Yeah. Well, this is wonderful. I really appreciate you putting both of these together, both of you working to get these in front of us. Thank you.
While we're in this session, can I ask for any specific ones, so we're working on overhauling the handbook. We're working on IT policies, we recognize we need a records retention policy. Is there anything else? The stuff on the lawn policy, we've got a couple of policies we're working on, but I think it'd be great to have a list, you know, it's
Social
gonna,
media policy,
yeah,
there's been a lot of comments I've seen where staff are posting
you're like, stop.
on county related issues on their public accounts. Please
Yeah.
don't do
Just
that.
responding and defending themselves.
Or defending the county and using their personal accounts, yeah.
It'd be great to have the list, so isn't that something you wanted to have, Matt, so we can kind of like, you could get direction from us about our priorities for all the things that are on your.
Yeah, can we take a little bathroom break and
Yeah.
kind of come back and talk about that?
Yeah.
Cause we got, I think this is scheduled till what, 1?
Yeah,
We've got some more time. Yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of get into next, is
Oh,
kind of a more,
What policies are next?
well, policies, just direction, what you want me to be focusing my energy on for the year.
cool.
Okay, so the other piece of this, I think we kind of just started talking about it a little bit, is sort of these overall, there's a number of policies we've been working on and developing, and just wanted to, you know, make sure that sort of align with your all's goals and priorities, before we get too far out over our skis. There's a number of them we talked about, I don't have a list, but, you know, Cammie's already has the drafts. Cammie's a rock star, by the way, I'm
Yeah.
really impressed with her.
Yay,
She's
I'm so glad.
yeah, so she's amazing. So she's already has sort of a draft social media policy. She actually put together the drafts of these policies. I mean, I reworked them pretty heavily but it's helpful getting at least something down on paper to start. So she has worked on a draft social media policy, a draft email policy, which legally we're supposed to have that
Yeah.
under the Colorado Open Records Act request. Act requires governmental entities to have an email records retention policy,
Oh, yeah.
which we don't have. But I think we're trying to develop that policy and the overall records retention policy, which I don't think we have.
Oh,
We
So,
don't, and we tried to start one, and
with Liz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her working
got
on
really shot down.
that. By us?
No. We needed input from people who would be dealing with records and did not.
Oh, I see.
I think it just dropped there, cause you know, I just don't think, we were waiting for Matt to come on to figure out how to.
yeah, and I
So
think
we're
there's
statutorily required to have it,
an email policy for sure.
an email policy.
Yeah,
Is there
And we're
anything in
supposed to have
statute
and the records, yeah.
that kind of puts any weight behind who is responsible for the record retention?
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, you know, it's pretty clear Tracy has the clerk and recorder, role, and, you know, there's a lot of records that she'll retain just by function of them getting recorded.
Yeah.
I think we can miss out if she's not willing to work with us. I'm not sure that matters in terms of developing a overall records retention policy. I mean, obviously the email, things like that would be good to have, again, have everybody on the same page that, hey, this is how we're dealing with emails, which I might be able to handle on the back end anyway,
Yeah.
with IT anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right now, we keep emails forever because it's also where a lot of our documents
Yeah.
lived.
Is
But we're not
the
doing
best
that
way to
anymore.
find those?
I mean,
That's just part of becoming more organized,
Yeah.
is that we don't, that's not the place you go to find documents in line. You know, for contracts, for map, we've looked at a software that like we could all go find the document that exists.
Yeah.
Instead of hunting through.
driving.
Yeah, so I'd say, most of my time is just day-to-day operational stuff, but there's definitely a time to, get 10-25% to move forward on this sort of more policy, digging into these other issues, like these leases have come up a number of times that we have with other partners. And I just don't know how much you want me to dig into all this stuff, and and I think it would be helpful to finish up sort of what we did with Randy as well, to know where your guys' priorities are overall as a board, and then I can sort of bring the stuff that sort of fits within that rubric of like, oh, this fits in here or here. But I think, again, policy direction, I'm not sensing any, don't waste your time on that. I think that's a good use of my time. Policies will definitely help with risk management, which, it would be good to get our insurance costs down a little bit. I don't know if they're fixed or if they're based on, payouts we've had in the past, or what they're based on, but.
So some of our insurance is based on our loss rate, which has been historically, but we're trying to work on those pieces. Some of our insurance is just based on, we saw that breakout from Stewart.
Revenue,
We're not, when we are having leases with people, we're not, so we'll use the one we talked about yesterday, we talked about the golf course. It's about $7,000 a year to pay their insurance, we pay it. We pay insurance on the pool. That's like $110-ish thousand.
A year?
Yeah, and so,
Hold up, just let me process that for a second. That's so much money.
It's about the same for Ski Cooper too, right?
It's about $100,000 for
more.
Ski Cooper?
yeah. Ski
So-
Cooper's like two.
What?
That we pay? Okay,
Pull it up real
just seriously,
quick,
let
just to
me
make
find.
sure we have the right.
But that's where it's like, if we.
That's
they're
a
public
subsidizing.
things, right, but I think we should at least charge enough that we're not losing money on insurance. We're not trying to make money off the entities, but we do have to cover the cost of like insuring some of those things. We're not.
I mean, I'm not against subsidizing things that are beneficial for the community. That's the rec department, right? That's so much money that doesn't have the same like public access.
Why is the golf course so much cheaper than pool?
Yeah.
I mean, I
No
can understand why it's cheaper, but why is it so much cheaper compared to, isn't there the same kind of, somebody runs himself over with a golf cart or gets hit in the eye with a golf ball, or it
Sort
seems
of the
like,
breakdown of the, the
Yeah.
constructed facilities.
The assets.
Improvements, correct, yeah.
okay,
So I'm looking at the list now, and Ski Cooper's 87,000
Thanks.
of our total due.
okay.
Golf course is about 7,000, animal shelter 3,700, the aquatic center 110,000,
How does the aquatic center cost more for
Majority.
because it's a pool?
water,
Even though nothing is happening there, we are still paying for not operating.
How do we get out of that? Like, every month they're like, oh, there's something else that's wrong under the building that we can't fix without spending gajillions of dollars and.
Yeah, I mean, that's a larger discussion too, that we've been trying to work through in all our spare time, but I think the problem is a lot of the counties using that for storage right now, is my understanding.
Storage has gotta be cheaper than.
It's gotta be cheaper than 110,000. Did you say 110
A
or
year.
just,
yeah, 109,680 is the
okay, we're gonna say 110.
county's portion after CTSI adjustments.
And the pool has been closed since to
2020?
So that will be over $500,000 that we have paid to ensure a pool that isn't being used.
I almost feel like we're doing this to like keep from hurting people's feelings at this point. To like not just completely cut and run out of the pool.
Well, we got a pool discussion coming up.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Angie,
I think you wanna see where that
we'll talk about it next week
goes.
if you wanna. It would be cool if you did zoom in from a roller coaster. That would be amazing,
No, that's
Space
gonna
Mountain.
look, I mean,
awesome,
yeah,
just consider it, okay.
You know, we really like to be on the news for all kinds of things, you may as well, you know,
For being cute, for being cute and hot,
we can do it from Star Wars Land,
yes.
Millennium Falcon behind.
Oh my gosh, okay, sorry, that's so much money. Thank you.
So,
Sorry.
yeah, so policy development, I'm here, and that's, that's a big one, it's a big push this year. Elsa and I talked briefly about 1041 regulations, whether I should be reviewing those. I get the sense I should probably be taking a look at these leases and coming up with some strategies to renegotiate them.
Yeah,
I mean, just cause the lease says it expires in, the golf course is 2035, I think it said 2031, but it's 2035. Just cause they expire, 10 years from now, that doesn't mean you can't have a negotiation to
Yeah.
renegotiate things. Just like I said with my own contract, if it's 2 years, well, I don't care if it's 2 years, I'm gonna try to renegotiate it before,
Anyone's gone.
yeah.
The
Yeah, it
truth is-
doesn't mean you have to negotiate it, it just doesn't mean you're bound for it forever, just cause it says it's, you try to renegotiate it, if they say no, then you take a step back and say, well, we're gonna reevaluate our options at that point.
well, I think with some of these things, we've definitely had gotten to that point already, where it's, hey, this isn't really beneficial to Lake County, then the hard no, we're not changing a thing, and then now we're stuck where we're at. So when we're looking at policies as a whole, how do we look at any changes to lease negotiations as a policy?
It's two separate
Yeah.
things, I think, I'm talking about.
He's just trying to get direction on where to spend his time.
Well-
He's one person with
Is that
an extra person.
in the agenda language that we're in a meeting to discuss directing? Are we allowed to talk about that right now? Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure we have our bases covered.
No, thank you.
I mean, it's a work session, so it's a little bit looser, I appreciate that. For
I hate that you have to click between chats and channels and then you have to go refine the folder.
yeah, I mean, I
Drives
think
me-
That's okay.
this is priorities,
Yeah.
for me.
Policies, procedures, and priorities.
Priorities, cool, alright, sweet, thanks, I just wanna make sure we have
Yeah.
the freedom to talk about priorities.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would really like a fresh set of eyes now that we are talking about what we could be allocating some bandwidth to look at the Ski Cooper situation.
And the pool.
And the pool, yeah.
We're gonna do that next week, but I think the pool will inevitably get onto become more of a priority.
I should I'll try to do something before next week for the pool, since you're gonna have a discussion about it next week,
Thank you.
Well, yeah, we got into some pretty far-reaching potential options of what we were considering the county's future relationship regarding Sea Cooper may or may not look like, so, I think, with, you know, fresh perspective, that might be interesting to revisit.
Yeah, okay. Look at that, policy development, you know, 1041 regulations, do you know what those are?
I do, but can you just refresh me because I'm having a brain fart?
So 1041 regulations are for larger development projects that sort of have statewide implications that happen within the county, whether it's a pipeline or a power line or water, you know. A lot of counties are looking at it from a water perspective these days. And they are basically a much more rigorous land use approval process, that your ordinary land use development code would not capture. These kind of, somebody wants to take a bunch of water rates for the county, for example. Your land development code doesn't cover that, but 1041 regulations properly drafted could potentially allow the county to have some say in larger projects of statewide implications like this.
I've heard it used in conjunction with like things happening on the Front Range between counties and like power companies, things of that nature. But I don't know where, I haven't had any firsthand experience with Lake County using 1041 powers on anything.
And I don't know that you have regulations that are currently in existence. You know, this would also involve a pretty heavy list with CPD as well to develop these, so, I mean, I could take an initial look at it, probably wouldn't take me much time, but, again, there's only so much time in the day and so many days in a year, and, I don't know where your priorities are.
There's only so much map, so it's like,
So much time I have, yeah.
Didn't you
What-
say that we already did have 1041
You do.
in place?
Yeah.
Pretty-
Yeah, so, I mean, I wouldn't consider that a high priority item, yeah. Since they're already in place, but I don't know how good they are.
Yeah,
I'm guessing they don't cover water projects very
um,
well.
I think you've got a lot on your plate already with model traffic codes, with, policy stuff we've already discussed. I'm gonna apologize because I didn't get a nod from you guys about like, are you guys okay with requesting him to take a fresh look at just the Cooper situation and
I
maybe
think all
see,
of our leases,
And then Mount Basu, yeah.
yeah, the golf course, Key Cooper, the pool, we've got things where we're just kind of hemorrhaging taxpayer
archery
dollars that could be.
I said it because I think that it's not fair to like not, look,
I know.
if I could hide that and feel good about myself, I would do it.
Put them in a little protective envelope
I
up
know.
there and not make them go through what the motocross track had to go through.
Which I don't think we will,
Okay.
but just to,
Oh God, you're
The
not.
new motocross people have gotten everything to be like, they're on it, they're
Awesome.
gonna be.
so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm so stoked.
And we're
They're just
not
on it.
losing the asset,
Tyson's good.
it's actually gonna become more accessible,
Yeah,
so.
well, yeah, I mean, I would love to help them out, you know, from rec standpoint of like, I think they have struggled with outreach and some organizational stuff. But I love the archery range as it is. I would really hate to see anything be like, oh, you guys can't do this way. Like, no.
No, me too, I'm just saying that, look, we have to look at, it'd be good to look at everybody. Just like we
Yeah.
do with capital projects,
Yeah,
to not just do one thing at a time, but to have the holistic, what do our leases, how are our leases built?
there are some, I guess, taking my archery hat off and my love for the range, there probably are some things we need to look at up there with where arrows are shooting versus where other people are recreating.
I was thinking more like access, and I think that it's probably fine, but, cause it's kind of the way that used to be at the motocross park and the way that they're going back to at the motocross park.
Yeah,
So I don't actually know if there's an issue.
no, it's just, you know how it's set up there, I think it's pretty, I'd like to see more people even know it's up there,
Yeah, exactly.
but,
And are we paying
But I worry
insurance on
once-
it? And if we're not, we should, right? You know, like, we have to look at it. We have to look at it.
yeah, I don't know what's what's more expensive, water or flying projectiles?
Well, the rifle range is less insurance than
Yeah.
pool,
Oh, okay, cool, alright.
significantly.
Yeah, the friggin' gun range. But that's managed by us, right? That's not with a separate. That is not a separate entity who manages the gun range.
No idea.
It isn't. It's just a public gun range.
What about the fire IGA? Can we talk about that for a second? Have they gotten back to you? Okay,
I think I'll just keep prodding on.
we have a meeting Friday morning,
Okay,
and that's on the agenda.
it is on the agenda.
Well, it's up to
IGA
them.
next steps. So are we, I mean, we're waiting to hear back.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
Okay,
Yeah,
nor have I.
thanks, that's usually Friday.
That's a good point, Matt. So our IGAs, MOUs, leases, I mean, maybe,
It's a lot.
Like as
it's a
they're,
lot. Do you have just like a master list of when they come up?
Or at least a
Yeah.
prioritization
We are
of like, okay,
building-
dive into this and
so we
I don't
are
wanna like
building
burn
it
this
as
guy
they
out,
come up.
he's too
I don't
valuable
either.
of an asset for us, so it's like, there's no rush. You can put that, you know, or, sorry, I keep just saying, but it's all the leases, you know, for me personally, I feel like, you know, our IGA fire IGA should probably be pretty higher on the list, as important as I feel like the leases are, because we are, it's dollars and cents, but like that fire IGA's gotta,
I think the IGA is an MOU. Okay, let's back up a little bit.
yeah,
When we did our strategy session, one of our main
Be
priorities was organization and just like foundations, right? Rebuilding our base. And so it feels like, Matt, if I were to sum it up, in my mind, it's like the priority would be getting a sense of all of the agreements that we have and getting the list together of when those get updated and when they expire and all that, and determining priorities off of that. And just off the top of my head, it's the fire IGA and it's the Regional Housing Authority IGA that are currently the most urgent, right? But other than that, I feel like it needs to be built off of the full
Yeah,
holistic
I mean, I like the
understanding.
idea of putting a whole master list together, and I don't know how we can do that, maybe I can work with Will and see if he can pull stuff from Tyler, from vendor agreements. Yeah, you're gonna have to pull all the other from various sources, I think, but I do like that idea of having some sort of master list, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, the fire IGA and the RHI, that's already on the list for sure.
right.
It's part of why we've tried to get the software, which we are about to move forward with, like a contracts software in place, because we'd be building the list as we're redoing these, and they do come up every year.
Yes.
At least the nice thing is that finance can't pull a list the way they have it set up, because no one ever put contracts in until like Will and I got here and we started uploading them. But they're not like entered in, like you can pull a queue. But every year, at the beginning of the year, and we're not that far into the year, if we can start doing it, he's not gonna pay any invoice when an agreement pops up that hasn't been done, and that's when we're reaching out to you to get the agreements. And I get that that's not the most ideal way to build the list, but I think it does help. And then I have made a list as things have come up that I'm like, oh yeah, we should do this every year, cause we never had a list, so I can at least share that list with you, cause I do have like part of building the budget is knowing that I'm gonna have, you know, all the finances and MOUs that I'm gonna need them to review, and Kelsey has a list.
Yeah.
And so I think that could be helpful to get that list from each director
Yeah.
who is paying attention to their things.
Yeah.
So we have a ton of MOUs.
I mean, that feels like
So they left.
that is tricky though. But also you can get like most of it from all the folks.
Where we can find the most current agreement, which is half the battle sometimes, but
Now, is there currently too much on your plate right now? Like when it comes to priorities, how much direction do you need from us to tell you what not to do?
No, I don't feel that, you know, legal work has a way of ebbing and flowing, and there has a way of displacing priorities, if we get some massive lawsuit that all of a sudden I'm spending most of the time on.
Yeah.
But right now, it's, I think I'm able to focus, a fair amount on this proactive stuff, which I think is really important, like the foundational sort of organizational stuff.
I think that would be most beneficial to, the personal wants aside, I think that's gonna be the best path moving forward. The valuable resource that we have with the great staff we have right now, working on things that are gonna become more permanent for Lake County.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's helpful for you all to think about the priorities in terms of that strategic planning session. I know Matt alluded to it, we're a little ahead of bringing that back to discuss again, but the priorities, I think things you're talking about do fit into some of the high level priorities that we worked through with DOLA, like looking at the draft right now, fiscal stability and financial resilience. I see the lease exploration fitting very nicely into that.
Yeah.
The organizational and workforce and organizational excellence, that's the IGAs, that's the MOUs, so it's helpful to think in terms of those categories that might, help provide some, some clarity around, like, are there specific policies that align with these bigger priorities that we should bump to the top?
Yeah. And, I just wanna give some respect to the colleagues sitting next to me, for all of us, for everybody putting aside their hopes and dreams for other things, whether it's world-class grooming or world-class rec departments or skate parks, no HV trails, to focus on what's best for the county, so.
Thank you.
Well, who said we were putting that stuff aside?
We are, but
We're
we
trying
aren't
to
like,
get it
hey, Matt, figure out how we're buying
in conjunction with fixing the.
a contract for your snowcat.
Yeah, your first year was adorable. Excuse me, what about grooming?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, I feel I was such a bad snow year.
I know.
I know, it's
Like,
such a
And
shame.
you crushed it, and then Mother Nature was like, you shall have nothing
Oh,
to
gosh.
groom.
Well, I did discover that I really like driving that low ranger, and I don't mind doing it a couple times a week, so
That's awesome.
next year's budget you can just count on me and Smokey. We got Smokey a waiver, so between the two of us and maybe Sterling.
Well, next year we'll look at enhancing our grooming to groom a community trade park up.
Love that.
Pete Hoover will build one, so. Might build us.
It's really disappointed, I had such big plans of having my cross-country skis in the back of my car, like,
So close.
there was this.
We're not a couple of
But for next year, we'll make sure your office has a rack for everyone who wants skis to be there, right on the wall. So you're like, lunch break? I'm gonna use our amazingly groomed mineral boat trail.
Where's the mat on the way?
Cool, well, I think I got some direction from you, I appreciate it.
Did you? Okay.
Well,
Great.
we appreciate you guys, all three of you, and
Seriously.
everybody, so don't let people yelling at you in public. Use your Zen. Right.
That was then.
I wonder if it's something we should address, you know? 'Cause
No.
somebody did ask me about.
Everybody has feelings.
Somebody did ask me about, severance pay for recent employees, and I set them straight, so hopefully that gets out. Oh, you did?
With Kim Jackson?
Yep,
Yeah, I responded to her.
I did too.
So hopefully that gets out, cause I don't know if it's appropriate for us to go on social media and say, hey, this is.
I would never respond on
No, I
social
don't
media.
think, no.
I don't, I never have, I've been tempted, but I haven't. But that kind of stuff festers like a splinter,
Yeah,
so.
I think what we're learning collectively is that you can really get the crayons out and explain it super simply to certain folks and they're just never gonna understand.
they're
And
never gonna believe you.
no, they won't believe it, yeah, and then in this day and age, you know, anything that has to do with anything government is the lowest hanging fruit to place a lot of anger, blame, and I know what we're doing in this room is the right thing for Lake County and the taxpayers, and I feel really hopeful about where things are heading. And to dilute that by taking some of this bandwidth where we're getting really important things accomplished and trying to focus on the few people who just wanna sit there and constantly misinterpret, misinform, you know, stay in their same bubble about everything government is bad, you know, like, it's a disservice to our staff and to, you know, you guys, and to feed into that, try and placate that, and I really wanted to do that nonstop when I first got in here, and it made zero difference. It didn't even put a dent in things, and it was like, alright, like, and it kept me from doing my job better, you know, so I don't know if it's fair to try to even go down that rabbit hole, because those people are not gonna change.
You're right,
That's why it's nice when they actually email or reach out.
yes.
'Cause then you can be like-
That's exactly what I said,
Yeah, I said the same thing.
thank you, I'd like to clarify.
Yeah.
Shall we wrap this up, folks?
Yes.
This concludes the work session of the Lake County Commissioners at 11:44 a.m. on April 8th, 2026.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board.